So welcome. What if Naruto save Anko from Sarah Kerrigan? Three Dark Templars walk into a small cave. They all felt a great power arrive. The female off the three held an air of power and control around her. The first male with green eyes held an air of power and skill. The third, a male with yellow eyes, had an air skill and control. The three of them are the strongest Protoss on the planet, the female being their ruler. Zeratul, are you sure this is not a Zerg? The male with yellow eyes asks the other male. He was dressed in leather-like armor and helm, only showing his eyes. In his hand was a staff with two blades coming out from ether in a sickle-like form. He stood at the rear of the group to keep watch. Mohandar, fear not, Zeratul would not Avenue brought us here. If the Zerg we're here, the female tells him. She wore a simple brown robe with shoulder pads made out of metal and a green stone of some kind. She held nothing in her hands other hen, a small sphere that glow a light orange color. Zeratul nods his head. His face was covered by a mask that reached almost down to his knees if not past them. He had on no chest plate or any armor, just a cloak and some shorts of some kind. He too had a pair of shoulder pads like those that the female Protoss has. On his right arm was an arm guard with a green blade ejecting from it. All three step in to find a small bedroom in the back of the cave. A female Protoss steps out of the shadows, seeing who enter her home. She wore attire denotes her position as a scholar, dark robes held in place by a wide hieroglyphic inscribed sash that signifies her profession. A wide collar is locked around her neck with a thin etched tablet of Xel'Naga origin attached to it, her prized possession. In her arm, she held a small bundle. Greetings again, friend Zeratul. Welcome Razogul, Mohandar, to my home, the female says with a small bow. Her amber eyes glow lightly in the dark room. Razogul notes the bundle but does not say anything. Thank you, Scholar Zerana. Zeratul brought us here saying you found something, Razogul says, returning the bow. Zerana turns her head to look at Zeratul, who nods back. Before him and Mohandar walk outside to stand guard. Zerana looks down to the bundle she holds before holding it out to Razogul. Razogul takes the bundle before looking down at it. To her surprise, she finds a male Terran baby in it. He already was showing signs of blonde hair. On his cheeks are three scars. Even in the dark cave she could make out his blue eyes looking up at her. The baby lets out a small cooing sound before reaching up and grabbing one of her braids. Zerana, where did you find this Terran? Razogul asks, worried they may have been found and Zerana kidnapped the child. Here in my home, matriarch. I woke up to him crying 3 moons ago. Zeratul was scouting in the area at the time. Zerana tells her, worried she would have the child kill. I see then no Terran have found us. Zerana, what is the Terran name? Razogul asks. She could feel his power. If taught how to use it, he could grow up to be stronger than Zeratul. If she could smile, she would at that thought. From what I could glean from his mind. His name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, but what worries me is what he holds in him. He holds a demon of great power. I fear the Zerg would do anything to get it, Zerana says. Yes, I can feel it as well. It seems to be confused. Razogul closes her eyes for a minute. There, now that should fix it. Interesting, it knows of us already before coming here. Ah, so this Terran boy is not from our reality but another altogether. Zerana, until he reaches the age of trial, you are to raise him in our ways. The great demon in him will teach him of his home ways. Zeratul will remain here to help. Yes, matriarch, Zerana says with a bow, taking back Naruto, who coos at her, not sure why he was being passed around or who they were. I shall raise him in our ways. Is there anything else, matriarch? Yes, until he reaches the age of trials, this is your job, as it will be Zeratul. I see him playing a great role in times to come, Razogul tells her before leaving. Zerana looks down at Naruto. Noticing him reaching out, she gives him one of her finger to play with. Need to get him some toys and find food for him until he can feed off energy like us. She had been feed him small berries for the last few days and milk from a kakaru. 5 years later, a small 5-year-old Terran ran into his mother's room. He just woke up from a nightmare. Ka-chan, he calls out in a shaky voice. Even with his mother's teaching, he still could not get into her mind and speak when she was asleep. Zerana slowly rolls over in her bed to look at the boy. Reaching out, she touches his head. Yes, Naruto. Zerana asks, already knowing what happened. Can I stay with you tonight? I'm scared, Naruto asks. His hair reaches mid-back. Like his mother, it was in braids or locks. Zirana sits up then picks up Naruto, carrying him back to his bed. You must learn to face your fears. Do you not want to grow up like Zeratul? Zirana asks play to Naruto's hero. Naruto nods his head now knowing where it was going. Okay Ka-chan. But can you read to me tomorrow night please? Yes I can, Zirana says as she places Naruto back into his bed. Touching him on his forehead, Naruto understands this is her way of kissing him goodnight. Night Ka-chan, Naruto says before falling asleep again. Zirana leaves after a few minutes. Making her way back to her room she starts to worry. She report the doctor EAMS to Razagul who was trying to figure out what they meant. Only time would tell. Naruto aged 10. Naruto stood facing Zeratul. Naruto had grown to about 4 feet 5 inches. His blonde hair now reaches the small of his back, like Zirana and Zeratul. He had his hair in braids. He wore a dark leather shirt and pants. Naruto's bare feet shift in the soft dirt, as he gets ready to strike back. Zeratul holds a STAFF in his hand. Unlike Mohandar, this one had no blades, it had to wooden blades to teach young Protoss. Zeratul looks down at Naruto who is covered in sores and cuts. Naruto for his part was having the time of his life. He always found it fun to fight Zeratul even when he was holding back greatly. Today was the day he would land a hit on him. Ducking under a swing, Naruto tries to punch his gut only for him to block it with the staff again. Opening his hand, Naruto makes to grab the staff right before he hits it. Grabbing it, Naruto uses it to pull himself forward into Zeratul. Zeratul just sides STEP it, making Naruto spin right back into him thanks to him holding onto the staff. Zeratul lets go and jumps back. Naruto lands in a roll before charging in at his teacher. Zeratul soon was on the defensive, ducking and weaving through Naruto's attack. Zeratul then notes Naruto was not attacking like a Dark Temper or a Zealot. In fact, he attacked in such a way only Zeratul years of training in battles kept him from getting hit. It was like fighting a fox if he knew what one was. Naruto looked at the staff before breaking off the blades. Going on the attack again, he felt alive. He never felt like this before the battle, life or death. Zeratul notes Naruto's eyes change from his cheerfulness into eyes of a person who trained for years. Seeing this, Zeratul smirks. It seemed Razagul was right. He would be stronger than he was. Zeratul ducks under another swing, aim for his head before rolling to the side. Picking up another staff, Zeratul starts to fight back. Naruto soon was moving backwards. Being smaller and weaker than Zeratul made it hard for him to keep up. Leaping to the side, Naruto throws his staff at Zeratul, hitting him in the arm. Landing in a heap, Naruto grins like a madman. Yay, I got you finally. Naruto shouts, finally able to talk with his mind. Well done Naruto, but you still have much to learn, Zeratul says, wondering why Naruto broke the wooden blades on the staff. Wait, or could it he did not like them. Come, it's time for me to teach you. Blink. Naruto grins like a crazy fox getting to learn something new. 8 years later, Fujita facility. A woman's eyes snap open. She felt a great power scream out. She felt something like this before. But this time it was so strong it felt like the air was gone, making it hard to breathe. Reaching out, she tries to find this power source. To her surprise, it was many light years away. She swore to herself she would find this power or person, learn from him or her. Shikura's same time. Naruto was doing the Shadow Walk. The Shadow Walk is an element of Dark Templar culture. Protoss must pass it before officially becoming a Dark Templar. It requires the aspirant to walk down a valley and keep only to the shadows, out of which Dark Templar will spring out unexpectedly to assault him, her. Once making it to the end of the valley without being incapacitated, the Protoss passes the test. Will more he just pass it, letting out a scream, he release all of his power unconsciously, making a person in his future swear to serve him. Naruto was now standing in front of Razagul. Well done Naruto, you are the first non-Protoss and most likely the only to pass the Shadow Walk. I welcome you to the Dark Tempers. May the Void guide you on your journey, Razagul tells him as he grins like a fox. He had grown to be just over 6 feet tall. His hair still reached mid-back, his clothing had not changed either other than color. Naruto somehow found a way to dye it a dark orange color. On his left cheek was a clan marking. It was a half arrow pointing to his mouth. In the center were two vertical lines spaced evenly. While Zirana was not part of any true clan, Naruto found it hidden away. When his mother found out, let's just the shadow walk was a walk in the park to what she did. Thank you matriarch, Naruto says with a bow on his back was a custom-made staff. On his right arm was arm guard holding his warp blade. On a black belt hang another warp blade. This one forming a sword that he found fun to use. Now it's time for you to live among the Terran. While you have grown strong you must learn of your own kind. But fear not, Naruto. You shall not be far from help if need be, matriarch tells him returning the bow. Now go get ready for your journey. Naruto bows one more time before leaving to get ready. Movin'. Quickly through the shadows Naruto made it to the small cave that his mother and him live in. Zirana was reading over some notes someone asks her help on, when Naruto walk in. She knew just from the power that he passes. Reaching out with her powers she felt him longing to behold. Getting up and leaning down she pulls her son into a loving hug. Naruto returns the hug. I leave soon, Naruto tells her, not really wanting to leave since it would be his first time being away for her for longer than a week. You will be finding. Ire will watch over you on your journey. I know you will do many great things. Zirana tells her son, helping him to calm down. Beside, the matriarch wants you to find a Terran female to grow close to and love. I think she wants to have Terran Dark Templars if you ask me, or just more mini you running around. Single quote. Did she tell you this or did you probe her mind? Naruto asks. Just be feeling my son. You forget she was laughing when you painted the great faces of Ire and Cos under the nose of Zeratul and the rest of the Dark Templars, she tells him, making Naruto smile. Ye Mohandar start to scream bloody murder at me, then try to hunt me down in his void ray, Naruto says, remembering the event. Now pack my son. You leave soon, Zirana tells him, pushing him to his room to pack. Zirana walks to her own room. Walking over to a secret compartment she opens it. Pulling out 4 scrolls she holds them closely. She had not told anyone when she found Naruto these wears with him. She read the only one she could open. She knew he would feel hurt for not telling him, but she did as the scroll told her. Walking back out she found Naruto already packed. These belong to you my son. When I found you these lay beside you. The first one explains why I did not give them to you sooner. In fact I am to wait 3 more years, but I feel you are ready my son, Zirana tells him as she hands him the scrolls. Naruto looks at them before placing them in his bag. Naruto then hugs Zirana. Zirana returns the hug and places her forehead on his. Nether knew they would only see each other, then Zeratul would return at the end of the Great War. Duke. This is Duke. The emitters are secure and online. Kerrigan. Who authorized the use of psi emitters? Arcturus. I did, Lieutenant. Kerrigan. What? The Confederates on Antigua were bad enough, but now you want to use the Zerg against an entire planet. This is insane. Raynor. She's right, man. Think this through. Arcturus. I have thought it through, believe me. You all have your orders. Carry them out. Arcturus. I will not be stopped. Not by you or the Confederates, or the Protoss, or anyone. I will rule this sector or see it burnt to ashes around me. A 21-year-old male sat looking at the screen. He wonders what the last part meant. Getting up, the male picks up a staff and walks outside. Keeping to the shadows, he makes his way down the street, stopping when some walk close to him. A large dog Lee K animal stops close to him, sniffing the air. It turns to face the shadow the man was hidden in. Without warning, the large dog-like creature was yanked into the shadows. Shortly after, it came back out. Walking 2 steps before falling over dead. It never knew what happened. The man steps out of the shadows and runs down the streets. Coming up to a broken bridge, the man grins. Thank you Zeratul, is all he thinks before vanish in a blink in dark shadow like smoke and reappearing on the other side in the same way. Spotting a body, the man walks over to it. Seeing it was a Terran Marine, with his rifle lay nearby him. Picking up the rifle, the man looks at it before aiming down the sights. Grinning, the man picks up a few clips of ammo before moving on with the rifle at the ready. Slowly making his way along, he spots an overlord hanging over a large courtyard. Making his way closer to it, he spots 3 Hydralisk. Taking aim, the man fires off 3 rounds. 3 Hydralisk drop to the ground. The man looks at the rifle before throwing it and the ammo away. Too loud for him. Making his way through the courtyard, the man hears cannon fire coming from the other side of a mall. Slowly entering the mall, the man finds himself looking straight into the barrel of AC-10 rifle. On the other end was a female ghost in a hostile environment suit. A pair of green eyes look at him as the rifle barrel moved to point at his head. The man remains and relaxes as if no one was pointing a rifle at his head. "Who are you? How the hell did you get here?" the ghost asks, keeping the rifle aim at him. The man reaches under his cloak. The woman tightens her grip and shifts a little, telling him to stop. The man withdraws his hand, holding a recording device. Holding out, the woman takes. Hitting the play button, she is shocked with what she hears. "Duke. This is Duke. The emitters are secure and online. Kerrigan. Who authorized the use of psi emitters?" Arcturus. "I did, Lieutenant." Kerrigan. "What? The Confederates on Antigua were bad enough. But now you want to use the Zerg against an entire planet. This is insane." Raynor. "She's right, man. Think this through." Arcturus. "I have thought it through, believe me. You all have your orders. Carry them out." Arcturus. "I will not be stopped. Not by you or the Confederates, or the Protoss, or anyone. I will rule this sector or see it burnt to ashes around me." The man turns to look outside the mall. Walking over to a window, he pulls out his staff. Looking around, he spots 3 Protoss with a dragoon making their way down the street. Holding the staff lightly, he turns to look back at the woman who now was talking to someone. Picking up a small stone, he throws it at her, then point outside. The woman notes the Protoss making their way up the street. Cursing, she pulls the man deeper into the mall. The man just follows her, not caring. Finding a small clothing store, she pushes him into the changing room, gets in, and locks the door. After a minute, they both hear footsteps. Someone tries to open the door. The ghost aims her rifle at the door as the man readies his staff. Soon a blue blade shoots through the door's lock, cutting it open. A Protoss steps into the room wearing yellow armor. On each arm was a blue psi blade. The man and the ghost both could hear the energy of the Protoss shield crackling around him. The Protoss was a Zealo. The lowest warrior any Protoss could be. Mostly the lower class became zealots, and a few made it pass and became a pilot. The zealot turns to look at the two. Too bad it focuses on the ghost first. The man shot forward, ramming his shoulder into the zealot, sending both of them through the wall thanks to the zealot's shield. The man rolls off the zealot onto his feet. Spinning, the man swing his street AFF at the zealot as it leaps to his feet. Leaping over the low swing, the zealot charges at him. The ghost runs out after the two, hoping to get a quick shot off before the Protoss's friends show up on. To find the zealot being pushed back by the man. The man ducks under a swing and brings his staff up between the Protoss legs. If it was a human, he would be sing in a very high-pitched voice. The ghost even felt the blow. But what happened next made her wonder who the man was. The man kept forcing his staff up, picking the zealot up, then swings over his head, brings the zealot crashing down headfirst. Leaping back, the man starts to grin as the zealot gets back up. "You're pretty weak for a Protoss. I mean, I face fresh Templars and they gave me more of a fight than you have been giving me. But and again, I did train under Zeratul for almost all my life," the man says aloud, now grinning like a fox. The ghost takes a closer look at the man and notes a few more things about him. His blonde hair reached down to the small of his back. Looking into his eyes, the ghost understood even though they held a soft, caring side in them. These blue eyes knew what it meant to fight for your life. However, her wonder the most was the tattoo and the scars on his face came from. The tattoo looks almost like a Protoss tattoo. "Come now, Terran shows me what you can do to a Protoss," the zealot taunts, not knowing he was signing his death warrant with his neck line. "Come now so I can send your mother your head before having my way with her, then killing her." The man looks straight at the Protoss before speaking in Kalani. "You should not have said that." The man lets out a roar, making the zealot wet himself in fear. The man now had a dark red cloak of energy covering him. His eyes now changed to red with slit pupils. His fangs grew a little, as did his nails, becoming claw-like. Throwing his staff at the ghost, the man pulls out a small metal item, with a hand guard at one end. Turning it on, a glowing green blade appears, taking the form of a katana blade. Zerishk Gulida. Oblivion waits. The man screams before charging the zealot. Ducking under a weak counter-attack, the man swings from the Zealot's right hip to his left shoulder, killing him before the armor knew what happened. The man closes his eyes before speaking again. Adun Toritas. Adun hide you. The man turns to looks at the ghost as he puts his sword away. Taking his staff back, he leads her to a real safe place to hid, a meat locker. Closing the door, the man lets out a breath. Who are you and how the hell do you know how to speak what they speak? The ghost demands. My mother taught me. Moreover, I am Dark Templar Naruto Uzumaki. And who are you? Naruto asks the ghost as the dragoon walks by. Sarah Kerrigan. My forces are on the other side of the mall. If we can get there we should be safe. But now, Kerrigan starts. Look, I know a few people. Maybe they can help, Naruto says, running a finger under his nose, looking away. Kerrigan wonder why he was looking away now. Looking down, she notes somehow her suit got ripped up. Jumping, will more like falling to the ground. She does the best to cover herself up. Naruto throws her his cloak. Kerrigan puts it on, feeling warmer already. Looking, she notes Naruto had on a custom-made C10 rifle. In fact, it almost looks like a barrel with the hand grip and a stock. The SC OP was also custom-made so not to tie into any headgear. It carried an 8-round clip of Psi rounds that took him and Zeratul a year to make. He found them to be better than most other rounds. For one, they made no sound when fired and left no real shell behind. Next, they could destroy a tank or just knock out a baby. The stock and butt of the rifle was built to make sure the rifle had no recoil at all. Next, he pulled out a bunch of throwing knives and places them on the ground. A few look a little weird with what look like tribal art on the handle of it. After that, he places his arm guard on the ground with his staff. Looking at Kerrigan, he waits for her to show what she had. Picking up on that, she nods to her rifle. That's it. I got a knife too, but I am not pulling that one out. Okay, that's fine. Just want to know is all. Naruto says, raising his hand to hold off any attacks. Looking down, Naruto closes his eyes, taking a few deep breaths. After a minute, his eyes snap open. She's closer than I thought. Come on, you can help me. Naruto stands up and opens the door. Peeking outside, he spots no one around. Looking back, he notes Kerrigan looking at him if he was crazy. Yes, I am crazy. Now grab your things, we need to move or I may miss my chances at find her, Naruto says, giving Kerrigan his best crazy smile. Who's her? Your girlfriend who ran away from you, Kerrigan asks with a sharp bite at the end. Know someone from where I come from. How she got here, I have no clue. So come on before the Zerg or the Protoss find them, Naruto say, charging deeper into the mall. Kerrigan follows behind him, not sure why she was following him. Along the way, she lost her hood to her suit, letting her long red hair fly behind her. Naruto turns a sharp corner by grabbing onto the cornet and using it to pivot his body. Kerrigan turns the corner to find another zealot in a pillar 20 feet away. Naruto brings up his rifle to bear before firing one round into the zealot head, killing it. Making his way at the same pace, Naruto tries to stop in front of a small diner. Naruto goes sliding into a small coffee stand. Well, he would if someone had not stepped onto his gut, stopping him. Mohandar, you did miss me, I knew it. Naruto says to the Cloak Templar. You did that on purpose, Mohandar says aloud in Terran as he decloaks. Kerrigan brings her rifle to bear only for Naruto shout at her. Stop, he's a friend of mine. Oh, mind getting off of me. I am not a footrest like some want me to be, Naruto says as Mohandar removes his foot from his gut. Naruto leaps to his feet before giving Mohandar a friendly hug that he returns. Your mother is fine, Naruto, Mohandar tells him before both take a step back to look at Kerrigan, who had not lowered her rifle. Sarah, meet Mohandar, leader of the Dark Templars fleet. And the best pilot I know of. Mohandar meets Sarah Kerrigan, one hell of a ghost if she got her act into gear, Naruto says before making his way into the diner to let them talk it out. So Protoss going to help your friends wipe my men out to kill the Zerg, Sarah asks. No, while I do not hate or wish death on them, I shall not take in their ways of killing everything. And why does a Terran defend the Zerg anyways, Mohandar asks in return. Orders, is all Sarah tells him. Aw, stop doing that, Naruto cries out. He comes running out with two blonde 10-year-old girls chasing him with knives. One somehow got a Psi blade. I did not mean it that way. Why do you Terran take very things so literal? I meant as a place to be safe and have fun. Not that way, you little snot-nosed brat. Kerrigan and Mohandar both watch as Naruto got chase around the mall by two 10-year-olds. One with green eyes and the other with dark color eyes. Other than those, they were clones of one other. Both Sarah and Mohandar at first thought they were twins. But after some mind probing, it turned out the dark eye girl seems to adopt into the old family. The green eye on seemed to be or outgoing, not so worried what others would think as the other. Get back here, you stupid adult. I am going to cut you nice and slow for what you said to my sister, the green eye girl yells. Like heck, I am going to let you cut me with that. Those hurt like he double toothpicks. If you use your sister's knife that she has now, then I may. Naruto cries out as the green-eyed girl throws her knife at him. Nova, please stop. The dark-eyed girl asks her sister. Why, for all we know, he could want to take us somewhere and sell us into slavery, Nova says loudly, not knowing all her yelling is bring the dragoon to them. Naruto stiffens up and looks down the hallway as the dragoon comes into view. Great, thanks to your yelling we got that, Naruto says, pointing at the dragoon making its way down the hall. Mohandar, can you take them and run? I can deal with a dragoon, Mohandar says, vanishing once again. Naruto uses blink to get behind the girls. Waiting a few seconds, Naruto grabs the Maru ND the waist before using blink again to vanish to another area out of sight of the dragoon. Soon he returns grabbing Sarah. One of his is arm around her waist, the other right under her neck. Yet again he vanish using blink. Letting Sarah go, Naruto grabs one of the girls and picks her up. Grabbing the other one's hand, he leads her and Sarah through the mall again. This time looking for an exit closest to his ship. Turning, Naruto ducks into a clothing store. Sarah follows them in, wondering why the change. Naruto grabs Sarah and pulls her father back into the store, covering her mouth. Using his ND, he tells her to keep an eye on the girls while he goes to scout out the area. Naruto vanish into the shadows once again. Sarah looks around and not sure to thank Naruto, God, or someone, but it turn out she end up in the women area. Looking around, she finds some clothing that fit under armor. Placing on a dark pink camo tank top and some dark camo pants, puts her armor back on. Moving around she makes sure she could still move freely. Grinning that she hears something she never wanted to hear. This is Captain calling. We stop the Protoss, but a Zerg wave is moving in. We need pickup now. Belay that order. We are moving out. What? You're just not going to leave her? All ships prepare to move away from Tarsensa on my mark. Ah, sir. About that pickup. Damn you, Arcturus. Don't do this. It's done. Helmsman, single the fleet and take us out of orbit. Now. Sarah turns off the radio, no longer able to bear it anymore. Arcturus turns out to be no better than who he was fighting. Sarah looks at the two girls who hid in the changing room. She wanted to go and help her men but knew it would not help. If she went, everyone would die. Maybe she could save these two and herself. And the Naruto guy seemed like he was able to get them out off here. Ma'am, are you okay? You like you're going to cry. The dark-eyed girl is softly scared as she hold onto her sister. I am not sure. Someone I trust just turned his back on me and my men. And now I can do nothing to help them, Sarah says softly, but I promise to get you two out of here alive, okay? Okay, the girl says softly, hiding her face behind her sister. Sarah moves so she could get a good look over the store. Making sure no one could get in or out without her knowing it, other than Naruto and anyone that could cloak themselves. Lying down on top of her stop, she drapes Naruto's cloak over her to create a sniper blind. The only thing showing was her barrel and scope of her rifle. Sarah looks down to see both GIRLs locking the door to the changing room. Reaching down to her right leg, she grabs her side arm. She figure not tell Naruto in case he tried anything. Using her powers, she makes sure it lands without going off or making much noise. In the changing room, the sisters lock themselves into. Sarah then notes movement outside the store. A large dog-like creature walks into the doorway. Damn. Sarah takes aim for its head. Firing one round, the creature drops like a log. Soon two more show up, sniffing the air. Holding her fire, Sarah waits for a clear shot to take them both out. Before she could, gunfire could be heard. It sounded like a marine rifle being fired on full auto. Soon both Zerg go running off to find the marine who saved her life. Biting her lip, Kerrigan looks down before turning the safety on. No matter what she promises them, she would get them out alive. Now she just hopes Naruto got back soon. He seemed to be able to tell when something bad was about to happen and then get out of it with ease. Sarah then notes movement in the shadows. Stepping out of them, Naruto looks around before waving up at her. Holding up 3 fingers on his right hand and 4 on his left, he taps his ear then mouth. Sarah notices what he meant. Changing her radio channel to 3-4, Sarah waits a minute before speaking softly. "Who's the Marine that's still alive?" Sarah asks Naruto, who also pulled out his rifle and aimed at the door. Talking to him. "I hit a dyed Marine's rifle before coming into the mall. I went out and got it before throwing a clip into a small fire. Look like it works. Anyway, my ship is about 2 clicks east of here. If we move now we can get there within an hour at a good pace before the Zerg find it." Naruto tells her, loading a fresh clip into his rifle. "How are you on ammo?" "I got 3 clips left and half of clip in my rifle still. The girls have my sidearm and that has 3 clips of 20 rounds each," Sarah tells him, checking her ammo count. "Okay, before we move out I will give you 3 clips of my ammo. 8 rounds each. But they can stop a battlecruiser with 1 shot if you hit the right place with it," Naruto tells her as he moves closer to her, keeping an eye on the door. Sarah did the same but kept an eye on him as well to keep him covered. "I know this sound weird now. However, do you think after this is over I could buy you and the girls diner or a drink? I know this small restaurant on this beautiful beach. White sand, blue water. What do you say? If you get us out of here alive I will kiss you," Sarah said. "No, you keep the kiss. I just want to buy you girls diner, or can I get you something else?" Naruto says, now under her hiding spot. We figure this out once we get off this planet," Sarah snaps, not wanting to hang around any longer. "Fine. You want me to get them out of the changing room and you cover the door?" Naruto asked, keeping his rifle on the doorway still. "Yay," is all Sarah says, turning off the safety as another large dog shows up. "Hold your fire. Let that one go, no need to bring more than is needed," Naruto tells her as he moves back into the changing room, knocking on the door that held the 2 girls. It opens a crack. Naruto sees one green eye looking back at him. It closes again before opening all the way, showing the green eye girl holding the pistol in both hands. Naruto waves them over. "You 2 stay close to me. We both will get out of here." Naruto leads them back to a place he can cover the door, and Sarah as she moves to a new place to cover the door and them. Naruto tells the 2 to go over to Sarah and give her the 3 clips he promises her. The girls run over to Sarah, who thanks them and smiles softly. "Sarah, I will move out to the small snack cart outside and use it to cover you. Get the girls out and head right. Find a place to hide. I need to check out another thing before we leave. If I am right it should only be a minute," Naruto tells her over the radio. Sarah hits the mic once before waiting for the all clear from Naruto to move. Naruto moves to the snack bar and looks down the hall both ways. He spots a Zerg sniffing a dead body to his left. Tacky. In aim, Naruto gets ready to fire when he stops. He spots a Terran walking up to it. The Zerg backs away from the Terran. Naruto now watches as the Terran picks up the body and leaves. Following him with his scope, Naruto waits until he is sure he is gone before calling Sarah and the girls out. They move down to a toy store and hid in with the large stuffed animals. Naruto makes his way back to the DNER, finding the Dragoon lying on the ground with a large hole going straight through it. Looking around, Naruto cannot see her since Mohandar anywhere close to him. Damn, runs as soon as he could. That's fine, but I could have used the help. Naruto thinks to himself before going to get Sarah and the girls. On his way he starts to think about Sarah and why she seems to glow. Her powers also seem to be greater than any other ghost he had ran into or seen. Blinking into the store, Naruto spots a Zerg sniffing around. Naruto pulls out his staff. Once again blinking, Naruto drops onto the staff, screaming in his mind, "Zerishk Gulita." Naruto activates the warp blade on his staff as he slams it into the Zerg brain. Naruto rolls to the left as he comes up, swing his staff back into the Zerg, cutting of a leg and its head in one go. Standing up, Naruto turns off the warp blade and puts his staff back onto his back. Blinking over, Naruto picks up his rifle again. Making his way in, he radios Sarah. "All clear, or however you say it. However, let's move anyway. I just saw a Terran that the Zerg back away from. So whoever he is, let's not stick around and find out." Naruto tells her as he keeps an eye on the doorway again. Sarah joins him again, this time carrying the dark-eyed girls who seem too scared to let go. Naruto figures she saw the Zerg or him kill it. He would talk to her later about it, leading them out of the store. Naruto stops to pick up the green Ion and place her on his back. Naruto and Sarah make their way down another hallway. Finding a stairwell, Naruto opens the door slowly low. Looking around, he spots no one or senses anything. Waving Sarah in, Naruto closes the door after them. This time Sarah leads them down the next 3 flights of stairs to the ground floor. Naruto moves to the front to open the door. Opening it, Sarah looks around before moving back out into the open. Naruto sweeps in after her, closing the door. As they head east, they find 2 more Zerg that they both take down with a will-time shot. Moving on, Naruto takes lead again once outside. Sticking to the shadows, Naruto leads them down the same path he came in. Naruto stops and pulls Sarah back farther in. The shadows is a large group of Zerg walk by. Following after them was a weird-looking cocoon. Naruto takes aim at the cocoon before emptying his clip into it. All the Zerg start to scream and run around looking for who damaged the cocoon. The cocoon opens up as a black-haired ghost drops from it. Sarah lets out a small gasp knowing her. Naruto loads a fresh clip into it before looking at Sarah, who awed slowly, knowing he was going to keep her from feeling any more pain. Sarah turns away, making sure the girls could not see his will. Naruto notes the woman was looking at them. Naruto mouths sorry to her and get a shaky smile and a nod back. One shot was all he fired before leading Sarah again. The ghost head drops to the ground as she closes her eyes for the final time. Naruto leads them to another courtyard. Stopping, he places the girl he is carrying on the ground before making his way out into the courtyard. He comes running back a minute later, nodding his head. Picking up the girl again, he looks at Sarah. Stay right behind me and just keep moving. My ship is cloaked right now, so we need to move fast. Those Zerg will have smelled our trail by now and are coming after us, Naruto tells her. Sarah nods and gets ready to follow Naruto. Naruto looks again to make sure no one was around. Running, Naruto vanished shortly, followed by Sarah. Sarah barely changes her pace in time to be running up a few steps into a ship. Naruto stood off to the side. Once she got in, he hits the latch, closing the door. Leading her to the cockpit. Naruto places the green-eyed girl into a chair before strapping her in. Sarah finds only on other chair. Moving the girl to her lap, Sarah straps them in as Naruto jumps into the pilot seat and turns the ship on. Sarah watches as Protoss words race across the screen as Naruto's hand dance across the controls. Soon the ship leaps to life as they bolt into the air. Naruto throws the ship into a hard right turn before hitting a few keys. Naruto then takes them out of the plant's atmosphere. Once clear of the planet and the junk in space, Naruto punches a few more keeps before opening a rift in space. Once open, Naruto flies straight in, vanishing from a terrain spy ship that remain hanging around to make sure everyone died on the planet. Too bad for them, Naruto made the jump before it could track it, but the new emperor knew someone and made it off the planet and knew of what he had done. Naruto closes his eyes once they were safe. Turning his chair around, Naruto looks over the 3 he just saved. Sarah was still holding the girl, who now seemed to be passed out. There just kept glaring at him, but her eyes soften when she notes him looking at her. We are safe now. In a few days we will be with the rest of the Dark Templars on Shikura's. I think Mom would not mind housing you for the time being. Or until we find you a better place to sleep, Naruto tells them. Who is your mother? Sarah asks. Zirana. She is a scholar who now remains on Shikura's, so I can fin her with easy if I need to talk to her. Don't worry, I think she will mother you to death once she sees how beat up you are, Naruto says with a smile. Beat up? I may have a few cuts and bruises, but I am not beaten up in any way. Sarah snaps back. Not you the brats, Naruto says, pointing at the sisters. The green-eye one nods her head before getting out of her chair and walking away. Her sister soon joins her. So what now other than meeting your mom? Sarah asks as she closes her eyes, hoping Rainer made it. Wait and pray we can find a way to stop the Zerg. Not only that, the Terran I saw is still out there, Naruto tells her. And they now look like the Zerg are taking captives. Sarah points out about the ghost they freed and saved in a way. I am not sure. Something tells me she was no prisoner. In fact, I think the Zerg plan on infecting her with the Zerg gene. If that is true, they could be starting a brand new race of Zerg, Naruto says softly in case the girls came back. But, the way she was guarded and from how many Zerg there were, tells me she was the only one. If not, how many? Sarah asks, pulling her knees up and resting her chin on them. 1. She was the only one. Think about, your everyday Terran does not have the psi level to draw the Zerg to them. Ghost do. I also hack into your force's database. She was the only other ghost still alive at the time. I kind tracked all of your iddies. It is also why I stopped before jumping. We cannot let them get hold of that type of power, Naruto explained to her. What else did you hack? Sarah asked, looking at him. Oh, a few cameras, mostly base camera. But I do remember seeing a redhead get attacked in her room by 2 guys, Naruto tells her, not knowing it was her, and that happened 4 days ago. Anything else? Sarah asks with a small tease. Hey, I know what's okay or not okay to do. The question should be, did you want me to or not? Naruto asks, turning the table. Anyway, if you want a place to sleep, you and the girls can have my room. After that happened today, I think I am not going to get much sleep. Sarah stands up slowly, looking at Naruto. You sure? Yes. Besides, I have a few things to do. Oh, leave your arm outside your room. I will see if I can fix it up a little, Naruto tells her as she leaves. Naruto sits at a workbench fixing Sarah's armor when he feels a tug on the back of his shirt. Looking down, he sees the dark-eyed girl looking up at him. You're like me. Ba-chan keeps yelling at me to attack you. Why? She asks, not sure what would happen. How many? Naruto asks, wondering so he could help her master hers. The girl holds up 2 fingers, Naruto holds up 9 and grins. Yeah, but I had a friend help me control it and help the fur ball out as well. When they get sealed into something or someone, they lose parts of their mind. It gets worse every time they get sealed. My friend fixed the fur ball's mind so I was able to control her with greater ease. I can help by keeping yours from talking to you in your sleep or taking over. But to fix its mind, you need to find someone stronger than me with the mind to that. Sarah, she asks, making Naruto blush a little. She could maybe one day. Now hold still, Naruto tells her as he places his hand on her head. As he puts up some walls, he sends a message to her demon telling it to back off or else. There, how does that feel? Naruto asks her. Better. She starts, not sure what to ask. What? Naruto asks, wondering what wrong now. How can you hold the Kyuubi when you only been missing 5 years and be older than me? Are you a ninja? The girl asks with big eyes. I was sent here shortly after the sealing. If not right after, by my father's student. As for why I am older, I have an idea. I believe that time moves at a faster rate here than back where we both were born. How long have you been here, and how old were you when the Kyuubi attacked my birthplace? Naruto asked, wondering what the time would be like. I was 5 and I've been here 5 years. However, how are you still older than me? Ka-chan sent me here about the same time you got sent here, the girl says as tears start to form. Because the sealing went wrong, dear child. A female voice says as a female Protoss steps out from the shadows. You still got to tell me how you do that, matriarch, Naruto says with a small head bow. In due time, Naruto. Child, when your mother sent you here, something happens. It took it 7.5 years for the seal to fix itself. During that time, you would not know what was happening. Therefore, when you finally emerge, in this galaxy, you believe did not know you waited 7.5 years. I believe the seal found Naruto and sent you here because you both come from the same world. This also might explain your need to find her, Naruto, the matriarch tells them and explains. The girl sniffs a few times but nods her head. The matriarch places her hand on the girl's head, fixing her demon's mind as she did with Naruto. Dark Templar Naruto, I want you to help her master her demon if she wishes to learn how to use it. I shall see you when you arrive. With that, she vanishes, making Naruto grumble about good-for-nothing show-offs. Turning to look at the girl, Naruto gives her a warm smile. Want to help me fix Sarah's suit? I am trying to figure what color would be best. But remember, it needs to be dark purple. I think she would look pretty in purple or pink. The girl says with a smile as she walks over and stands on her toes to see the workbench. Naruto reaches down and picks her up, sitting her in his lap. Looking down, the girl notes S's suit seems to be looking a lot better than before. However, she wonder about the arms since Naruto replaced them with a Templar cloaking shield and personal shielding unit. Naruto also adds in a wrap blade on her right arm. Like his, the blade can come out over the elbow. The final add-on is a new power unit. Purple, red and blue right. I think I have some dye we can use, Naruto says as he places her on the bench before looking around for it. The girl watches him look around before pulling out some dyes and walks back over. Okay, you mix them and I will dye it. Okay, Yugito. Hey, how do you know my name? I never told you it. Yugito snaps at him. Sorry, I saw it when I enter your mind to put up the shields. I wanted to know what your name was. The Templars do not enter minds unless they feel they must. So what do you say you mix and I dye it? Naruto says as he opens the dyes for her. Okay, she says with her first smile Naruto had seen. Naruto tells her about his home as she mixes the dyes together. Once finished, Naruto shows her how to dye clothing and save most of the dye. Once finished, Naruto hangs it to dry. Picking up Yugito, he starts to make his way to put her to bed. I'm not tired. And Nova kicks in her sleep. Yugito says softly. Must be a black moon then, Naruto says randomly as he makes his way back up to the cockpit with Yugito. Black moon, Yugito asks, not sure what that meant. Once a year, the moon turns black. Every time it does, I cannot fall asleep. In addition, no matter where I am at, I always feel it. How about I teach you how to fly? We are in slip space so we are safe. And you can't run into anything like I did when I started, Naruto says, sitting her down in the pilot seat. Okay, first these control speed. I lock the speed in, so do not worry about that. Naruto points to two buttons. This one is the brakes, do not touch. Next, these control pitch, main, use them when not in space. Lastly, these are the fun ones. They control where you want to go. Naruto looks at a screen and grins. How about we make a flyby over Korhal? Spook those guys down there. Okay, Yugito say as she gets ready to start flying. Naruto hops into the seat her and Sarah both sat in earlier. Tapping his foot on a button, a panel opens up and another control pad slides out. Okay, Yugito, you have control when I drop us out. But if need be, I can retake control. So if you lose control, do not worry, okay? Naruto tells her as he brings them out of slip space. Yugito fingers start to push the buttons, making the ship turn hard to left. Naruto keeps an eye on the rada. And frowns seeing three small fighters coming out to meet them. Naruto powers up the shield and weapons. Sorry, playtime is over, Yugito. Strap in, you can be co-pilot. See the small green screen with the three yellow dots on it? Yes. What is it? Yugito asks as Naruto throws his ship into a hard dive to the right. Radar. Tell me if you see any more show up. Naruto starts to curse in Protoss. Why I dropped us out here. Should have dropped us out over some other planet. Haven would have been a better one to drop out over. Nissan, two more showed up and they are bigger, Yugito says as a rocket goes flying by. Yugito, go get Sarah. Then I want you and Nova to remain in that room. Tell Sarah to move it and get up here, Naruto says as her hits the brakes as another rocket flies by. Yugito jumps down and run to the bedroom. Naruto does his best to keep out of reach, spinning the ship around. He notes the newcomer's rear battlecruiser. Sarah runs in dress only, in her pants and a sports bra. Looking around, she notes the cruisers closing in on them. What happened, is all she asks as she stands behind Naruto, who jumps up and push her into the chair as he runs to the other one. Thought I could teach Yugito how to fly. I did not know the cloak turn off when we took off. Right now I need a co-pilot to keep an eye on the shields and return fire, Naruto tells her as he jumps into the pilot seat. Once again his finger race across the controls, spinning the ship to the left and diving low and under the cruisers. I like to see Maverick do those. You got 3 more cruisers coming in. They are boxing us in. Sarah yells. How do I return fire? Red button fires missiles. Yellow is photon cannons. Hold on, this is going to get hairy, Naruto cries out as he spins the ship NTO a corkscrew dive before giving a yell over the open comm channel, Naadon Autumn. Sarah looks up at him if he was nuts once more. Looking back, she fires 3 missiles at the closest cruiser, making it slowly lean to port. Firing photon cannon into the hull breach, Sarah's eyes widen as the cruiser explodes, taking out 3 smaller ships coming by it. Naruto shouts nice one as he pulls up. Hitting. The slip drive Naruto watches as the rip opens once more. Flying into Naruto lets out a breath of relief now being safe, next stop Haven then home. We would be if they did not track us. You did not note the spy ship in the area did you? Sarah asks as Naruto stands up looking tired all of sudden. I did. That's why we are going to make a small jump then another 3 jumps to make sure we lost them before heading to. Naruto finishes he falls to the ground. Sarah jumps up and grabs him before he hits the ground. Finding him sound asleep, she lowers him to the ground resting his head in her lap. Sarah has a small blush on her face as he just sits there waiting for him to wake up. Naruto slams his fist down onto the table. You want to say that again? This time louder. It'd been 2 days ND no matter what the ruling families still wanted him dead and kept calling his mother unjust names. Naruto's #1 fan, will #1 wanted to kill him fan, just insulted his mother again. This is not time to fight. I asked Templar Naruto here to tell us in person what he has seen. Razagal tells them making everyone shut up. Sarah stood behind Naruto not sure why she was here. Looking around she could tell many did not like her or outright hate her for being in the same room as them. Some for breathing the same air as them. Then why is the female Terran here? We have no need of her, another yells out. Because she saw what I saw. While I saw the first Terran she saw the cocoon and knew the Terran that was in it. Would it not be better to have her shed some light onto this war? We keep finding ourselves in no matter what we do. Razagal, I am going to say this once. If these fools do not wish to hear reason in what Sarah and me have to tell, I wish to join Zeratul on Char. I would be a far better use there than spending another day here dealing with the fools, Naruto says as his eyes change to red slits again. Every time he came to one of the meetings by will or force to he walk away angrier than the last. I agree with Templar Naruto. If the Zerg have a Terran ally or have assimilated one into the swarm, we have much to fear. And if we are lucky this Terran did not see Templar Naruto. A female Templar who now overwatch many of the young Protoss train. She was one of the few that Naruto could trust in the room. She turns to look at him before speaking again. Did he see you? No. As far as I can tell, I was not seen. If I was seen, neither the Terran nor the Zerg near him made any tell sign of knowing I was there. If you wish Templar Kashian I can go into more of what I have seen. Naruto tells her. Yes to Templar Naruto tells the council what you know. The female now knows as Kashian asks and tells him. I had moved to cover the Terrans Sarah, Yugito, and Nova. Looking down a hallway, I spot the Zerg looking at a dead Terran. Before I move to kill the Zerg, a male Terran walks into view. Walking over to the fallen Terran the Zerg backs Awa. Why is the Terran picks up the dead and walks away? Overall I believe this Terran may somehow control the Zerg outside the Overman's control. Naruto tells them, not sure how to go into detail. Now, tell us about the cocoon you saw and what happened there, another Templar asks. We're leaving before the Kala Protoss show up and burn the planet. About 2 clicks from my ship. The cocoon itself was heavily guarded by the Zerg. Naruto stops and looks back at Sarah. After getting a nod he looks back to the table. I felt I want to know what's in the cocoon. Destroying it a female Terran fell out. It seems they wanted to assimilate her into the swarm. Somehow she knew where we hid. Taking aim, I fired 1 round sending her to the void. As of now the Zerg can assimilate Terrans if they so wish to. The war is no longer one we can fight the same way. We must get aid from the Terrans before it's too late. You want me to believe that the Terrans can help us, a female Protoss spits. They win every space battle. They have also learned how to fight from Rang on the ground. We have degraded to the point of swords. Yes we have more honors but time for honor has passed. If we want to win T.'s war we must throw honor out the window. We are at war and I keep finding you so-called noble Protoss think they know how to fight this war. You want this war over with give command to Zeratul, Bako. Say of now I am not fighting for this council. I fight for my family and friends, other than that you all can go to the void on your own, Naruto says as he stands up bowing to Razagal before leading Sarah out of the room. Damn Terran think he is better than us, the female Protoss spits. Fazadnil you do understand Templar Naruto has seen more combat in these last 3 years than all of us in our lives. If he declares war on us by chance, many will side with him. His way of fighting may go against many of our ways, but they do bring better results. So I agree we must gain new ally and find a better way of fighting the Zerg. He shall leave in a week unless there's a chance at the overmind. You all know as I do. Zirana will leave with him. With a strong chance of Zeratul as well. We have on a week to end this war, or we will and shall be fighting a harder war than before, Templar Kashian tells them. Her blue eyes glow in the dark room with anger. I for one am willing to join him and Lee. They out the remainder of my life on a world not touched by our kind. Besides, I do not want to see the fall of the Protoss race. Templar Kashian is right. With Templar Naruto leaving, we would and shall lose much of our power. As of now, we hold the Zerg barley back. If we lose him, the Zerg forces will soon grow to the point we cannot stop them. Another Templar speaks up. I agree, if he leaves so does my clan, a Templar tells them. The clan in fact only was in the hundreds, being the smallest, but they made it up for being some of the strongest. Like his plan will work. It all hinges on us anyways. Fazadnil smirks. If she could. We have final say. You forget, Fazadnil. Templar Naruto no longer fights for you or anyone on this council other than a few. You yourself said it would take the council to get him home. He has now found a way around that. The Terran girl Yugito still has a way to return. Naruto knows this, and will most likely use it. Razagul speaks softly. 1 week to end it all. We will not finish this war in a week. So we must be ready for a new war to come. Return to your clans and be ready, for soon the Narazim will make themselves known. And we shall end the Zerg even to our last breath. We fight from the shadows for too long, it's time for us to stand in the light once more. Templar Kashian go to chart. Tell Templar Zeratul the time has come to strike back. We no long can wait. Kill every Cerebrate they come across. Mohandar ready the fleet. I want us ready to attack the Overmind on Ire as soon as we can, with or without Templar Naruto help. The council seems to forget that I am your ruler and you only help to keep peace among the clans. If any of you overstep again, you shall see what our enemy first hand on the front lines. Both Protoss nod their head and leave to get ready. The rest leave slowly. Only 3 remain. Razagul and 2 other Protoss that have allied themselves with Naruto. Razagul looks at the 2. She knew one would take her claw and with her and join Naruto for just being friends with Zirana. The other would remain, feeling one clan with Naruto would make the Void scream out in pain anymore, and the Void would come for them. My time will come to an end soon by the hands of a Templar. Fear not, one will rise to lead us. You two must set the groundwork for him. I know one of you wishes to join Naruto and his family. You may but aid us for the week until he leaves. Also, once you leave, we will destroy the gate to his world and everything that has to do with it. Do the same on the other side. If we fall, the Zerg must not reach him or his world. I could not have children, so I put my wishes and love on him. For who do go guard him, because I am going to adopt him to my family as will. For he shall be my only way to carry one my blood and family. Razagul says, pulling out a small vial of her blood. Give it to him when you feel he is ready. Also take 6 probes with you. Build a new Protoss empire, but remember, you are to defend the Terrans and help them. 1 week later, or 3.5 days later, in Tinagal, a large rift opens in a clearing in the middle of the forest. Soon 3 Dark Templars step out, looking around to give the all clear. Soon 278 Protoss steps through, followed by 6 probes, 2 large warp prisms, and Naruto's ship the rift. As soon as the rift closes, the Protoss begin scouting out the area. Naruto turns on the area cloaking shield. Soon the clear was covered in a cloak shield. Naruto steps out with Sarah following behind him in full combat gear. After talking to him, she found out and remembers he was the sour of the power she felt 3 years ago. After that, she swore to him to guard him with her life. It took him an hour, just to get her to be his partners, no need to do a life pack. She still took to being his guard. Yugito and Nova both peeked their heads out, looking around before both being picked up by Zirana carrying them out. So how are we doing? Any signs of Terrans yet? Naruto asks the clan's chef. No, but I have sent half of our Dark Templars to scout out the area. If we are lucky, we should find this Leaf village, the Protoss tells him before going back to check on everyone. You know, my son, you can go here to find your birthplace, Zirana says as she grabs both girls' hands to keep them close. Even with most of the clan liking Naruto AF, EU still had a great dislike for Terrans. Can we come too? Both Nova and Yugito chirp looking up at them. Only if you grab my gear, Naruto tells them. Both let go of Zirana's hand before running to grab his gear. Is that wise, Naruto? A Templar asks who was close by. Yugito knows this world better than any of us. And she will not leave Nova behind. Beside, if done right we could look like a regular Terran family, Naruto tells him. Beside, I got Sarah here if we get into any trouble. Nova and Yugito both come running back with Naruto's gear, also dress in Protoss survival gear that Naruto helped them make. Naruto puts all his gear into place before looking to Zirana. Be safe. Aunt Zagadir nods, the gods watch over you. Naruto nods his head before leading his group out of the clearing. On his way out he stops to tell the clan leader to kill no Terrans who by chances walk into the field and see them. Once out of the field Naruto leads them due west in hopes of finding a town of sorts. They come across 2 other Templars that tell them of a small village 3 clicks south of them. Making their way to the village, Yugito spots a shadow move across another shadow. Pulling on Naruto's sleeve, she points to it. Naruto looks at it before grabbing Nova and jumping back as Sarah does the same with Yugito. Landing on the ground, Naruto notes 4 men with masks land around them. Who are you? One asks, wearing a wolf mask. Travelers in search of a safe haven from a deadly foe, Naruto answers, glad he had Yugito teach them their native tongue. Where are you from? The man now asks. We come from a place far to the northeast. Many do not find our home. Naruto tells him, not sure how to answer that one. He notes 2 Dark Templars they met earlier show up but remain hidden to see what happened. The name of you home then? The man asks, reaching for his sword on his back. Shikura's, Naruto says, now no longer feeling safe. Reaching into his cloak behind him he grabs his staff. Ra sees the movement and reaches into her cloak and grabs her rifle. Even at close range she was deadly with it. Yugito and Nova both get ready to run. Never heard of. I bet you're all spies, the lead. Says, now having his sword fully drawn. Naruto eyes widen when he feels his body go stiff. He finds himself unable to see if his friends could move at all. Looks like we got them this time. No need to kill them yet. A female says as she looks them over. Naruto reaches out and finds the person holding them down. Slowly he starts to speak Kalani to Sarah. Behind the tree to my left is another. One using something to hold us in place. Can you hold them for 3? Naruto asks. Yea, as soon as you blink I will activate mine and the girls' shields, Sarah tells him. You know Terran, you shoal. Tell your friend to let us go or I will be forced to act and free us, Naruto tells them, making them all take a step back. I guess not. So I guess all that's left to say is Zerishk Gulida. Naruto v. Anisha's using blink, telling the other Templars to act now. Both jump into combat, grabbing one of the Terrans. Sarah brings her rifle out, now loaded with the same rounds as Naruto's. She fires 3 NDS into the female Terran closest to her. Naruto, for his part, he grabs the man's head, forcing him to let go of them. Once done he slams his head into the tree in front of him, knocking the poor chap out. Blinking back into the area he blocks a sword strike at Sarah with his staff. Who are you and what are they? The man yells at them. We are Dark Templars, is all Naruto says before crushing the man's mind. While it looked like from the outside all he really do was knock the poor guy out by tricking the brain to think it was tired and need sleep right that minute. Let's take them back. They may know where the Leaf Village is. And why would you want to know that? A female voices asks. Looking up into the trees, Naruto spots a female standing in the tree. She has a violet rhombus on her forehead. She is fair-skinned with brown eyes. Except for her bangs, that are part in the middle of her forehead and fall down the side of her face. Her hair is long, blonde hair tie into 2 ponytails. Yusen G bands in the same color as her seal on her forehead. She is wearing a grass green robe with the kanji for gamble written in black on the back, inside a red circle. Underneath she wears a gray, kimono-style blouse with no sleeves. Held closed by a broad, dark bluish-gray obi that matches her trousers. Her blouse is close quite low, revealing her sizable cleavage. She wears open-toed sandals with low heels and nail polish in the same color as her trousers and obi on both her fingernails and toenails. Not that I really mind you beating up their Anbu. I still will not let you go and attack it. The woman says, leaping down to the ground. You look just like that last moron who became Hokage. Minato, I think his name was. You could be his younger brother or a clone of him. If you cut your hair and lose the whisker-like marks. The woman slowly stops speaking as she slowly walks close to him, taking a good look at him. Stepping up in front of him, she barely feels Sarah's rifle being rammed into the back of her head. Sarah, stand down, I do not think she means any harm, Naruto speaks in Kalani. Sarah slowly lowers her rifle barrel but keeps it aimed at the woman. You look just like him but you're too old to be. The woman says, touching Naruto's face softly. Naruto, right. Yugito has her head titled to the side trying to place the woman. She knew this woman from somewhere but could not place a name. Naruto nods his head at his name. The woman's eyes start to water as she pulls him into a loving hug, crying freely. Forgive this old woman please, is all she says, holding onto Naruto. Naruto for his part was not sure what to do. As soon as the woman starts to cry, Naruto was able to read her mind with ease. What he found made him collapse from the mental strain of everything. The woman's eyes widen when she feels the body go limp. Sarah for her part just grabs Naruto before he hits the ground and holds him close. The woman takes a step but freezes up when Naruto starts to cough off up blood. What did you do to him? Sarah yells at the woman, not sure what was wrong with Naruto. The woman snaps out of her locking up. She runs over to them only to stop, then Sarah fires a round right next to her feet. Stay back. I will not let you hurt my Naruto. Everyone look at her with a raised eyebrow. Yugito and Nova look at one another and grin. Sarah always called Naruto, Master Naruto. So having her call Naruto just by his name meant they may end up together, and both of them wanted that. For the woman, she was not sure what to think. One part was happy, the other part sad. Naruto, wake up. Sarah screams in Kalani, please wake up. Naruto slowly opens his eyes. Trying to stand, Sarah catches him before he falls, helping him up. Yugito and Nova both run over to help. Yuto looks straight into the woman's eyes before bowing his head. Sorry Tsunade-san. When you broke down I enter your mind in search of your name and how you would know me. I saw too much and wish for your forgiveness. Naruto says, still not looking at the woman now named Tsunade. Tsunade for her was shock. She did not even know her mind was entered. She felt someone trying earlier but push it off for one of the females being able to. She slowly smiles back at him. I guess I should have told you my name first, Naruto. As you already know now, my name is Tsunade. And I am your godmother. You're Tsunade of the Sanins. Yugito yells out before jumping up and down. Wow, I never thought I would meet a Sanin before. Is it true you can cure anything and all types of poisons? Are you able to destroy a tower with a flick of a finger? Everyone was surprised at Yugito firing off questions one after another. Tsunade shakes her head no before speaking again. No, I am unable to any of that. Whoever told you that is extraditing greatly. Oh okay, Yugito says, looking down but starts to smile again. I bet you just saying that, so you do not have a lot of ninja trying to kill you. Look here you. Little Gaki, I am not powerful, Tsunade yells at her, making Yugito smile even more. I know, I just wanted to do that, Ba-chan, Yugito says, running away with her sister. They are not yours, Tsunade SK turning to look at Naruto again, who was still being held up by Sarah. No, their family was killed by our enemy back where they come from. We came back here to get away and because someone called Th. Hokage wants me to return when I was of age. With me came near 200 other Protoss, 3/4 of them Templars like myself and those two, Naruto says, nodding his head to the two Templars tying up the Anbu. Speaking of them, they best leave when the rest show up. I sent my apprentice to get help in case I could not beat you. You only have a few minutes before more arrive, Tsunade tells them, looking at the Anbu. And what about you? Naruto asks, still leaning on Sarah. I can deal with them, do not worry. Now go before they get here, Tsunade tells them. Kore, Terseal. Grab November. And Yugito, let's get back to the others, Naruto says in Kalani. Both Templars grab the girls before vanishing into the shadows. Sarah holds onto Naruto as he looks at Tsunade before vanishing as well. Tsunade turns when she feels more Anbu land behind her. Turning, she sees one person she did not plan on seeing. Sensei, I'm surprised to see you out here, Tsunade says, looking at her sensei. Hiruzen, known as the third Hokage or the professor. He has had a small goatee and short spiked hair, both white from age. He also has lines running vertically under each eye. Although an old man, age has not taken much of a toll on his appearance, as it has on his skills, as it would only appear to have given him some gray hair, several wrinkles, and very few liver spots. With age, it would seem that he has also taken on smoking a pipe. When in combat he wears a black jumpsuit with gray shoulder armor, a gauntlet on his right arm, a leaf forehead protector bandana with long straps, and a ninja helmet that he wears under it. "Tsunade, what are you doing here?" Hiruzen asks, shocked to see his student. "I felt a spike of chakra and came to find out what was going on. I sent Shizune to get help to safe in case it was enemy ninja. When I arrive I found the Anbu tied up like this before you arrive," Tsunade tells him with a small lie within the truth. "I see we found Shizune like you said. She right now is still heading to the village. I told her to go until you came for her if you want to," Hiruzen tells her before everyone head snaps up to look into a tree to his left. In the tree was a dark Templar looking down at them. Every ninja shifts to get ready in case the creature to them attacks. Tsunade note its green eyes land on her for a minute before moving to her sensei as if picking out the strongest. The Templar blinks before standing up to full high and turning. The Templar then jumps away, vanishing like the other ones into the shadows. Tsunade wonders why it left or why it was watching them. What was that? A nameless Anbu speaks up. Who knows, could be another one of those experiments Orochimaru was working on. Another nameless Anbu answers, still looking around to see if any more were in the area. Unknown to the group, 30 Templars all stood ready to move in. Their clan leader wanted to meet this group. The Protoss the group saw to scout them out. Kashian stood next to the clan leader with Naruto still leaning up against Sarah. Kashian told the clan leader it'd probably be best to have Naruto and Sarah with them when they went to meet the Terrans. "I will take Templar Naruto," Kashian tells Sarah. "Cover us from the shadows in case we need to withdraw." Sarah helps Naruto over to Kashian but does not let go of him. Naruto smiles at her. "Go, you will be better use of guarding me if you can cover us with your gun." "Understood," Sarah says, turning on her cloak and vanishing into the shadows. "Let's go meet the locals," Kashian says as she helps Naruto walk. The leader nods her head and follows behind them. As they walk into the clearing, every Anbu draws their sword and gets ready, seeing now 2 more creatures have shown up, and this time they had a human male with them. Kashian looks around the clearing, spotting the Templars already in place if need be. "Greetings, Terrans," the clan leader speaks behind her helmet. She, like every other Void Ray pilot, was dressed in leather armor, only letting her glowing green eyes be seen. Tsunade was the first to step forward, knowing they would not attack unless attack first. Hoping they would be able to play along. "Who are you and what are you doing with that man?" Tsunade demands, locking eyes with Naruto, who blinks a few times before telling the others the plan. "I am Templar Mirai," Mirai tells them with a bow of the head. "This man is no prisoner if that's what you think. He was injured from a mind probe, he saw a little too much and felt the backlash. So he is an Anbu starts to speak, only for Kashian to break him off. "No, he is not. Your mind is too easy to break into. I must ask, who is this Danzo-sama you keep praising in your mind?" Kashian informs him and asks, not sure but gets the feeling that this Danzo person was not good. The sound of a rifle being fired is heard as every head other than the Templars start looking around for the sound. Every Templar was looking at an Anbu who started to reach for his sword on his back. In front of him was a small hole from the round Sarah fired. "I would stand down, Hyuga." Ghost Sarah does not like when others make movements of attack against Templar Naruto. Naruto looks but does not turn his head at Sarah and winks at her, making her blush. Naruto then looks back at the Anbu and almost laugh out loud from a few of the Templars making weird hand signs behind their heads. The Hokage notes Naruto's face and frowns. "What do you find funny?" he asks, not sure what that sound was. But these 3 seem to know. Just easy it is for a Templar to sneak up on you. It seems these Anbu can only catch a Templar when he or she is guarding or with a non-Templar, not that I mind. However, right now 30 Templars are hiding in your group. So you can all attack if you truly want to, but none of you will make it afoot before being cut down, Naruto tells them as every Templar gets ready to strike. The Hokage and Eve other Terrans' eyes get big as the look around, trying to spot them. "Also, with Sarah sniping, you will have the hardest of times hurting any of us." Kashian lets Naruto go as he takes a few steps forward. He may still be feeling the effects of looking into Tsunade's mind. Tsunade herself relaxed seeing her godson doing better than he was doing about 30 minutes ago. Looking around she spots a shadow in a shadow. Looking closely she notes it took the form of a human crouching down with something in their hands, Sarah's sniper rifle. Looking back at the Protoss and Naruto, Tsunade smiles. The third looks at her wondering what she was smiling about. Looking back at Naruto, he tries to figure out where Minato brother was hiding for all those years. Why are you here? Because am. In calling himself the Hokage request I return when I came of age, whatever that meant, Naruto says, rubbing the back of his head. Sarah notes one finger being held off from the rest. Taking aim she adds another round into the breech before turning off the safety. Taking a quick look at her energy she had left for her cloak, she knew this could get ugly really quick if they did not come to agreement soon. I am the Hokage. The only scroll I gave away that said that was over 10 years ago. You are older than 10, so who are you? Me, well, I am Templar Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, son of Scholar Zirana, adopted son of our matriarch. Student of Templar Zeratul. I am the first Terran to complete the Shadow Walk, and beat it within a day. I hold the demon fox known as the Kyuubi. I have held back T. He zerged for 3 years before returning home then coming here. Does that answer your question, Terran? Naruto said, darning anyone to challenge him to his claim. I know only of one Naruto and his parents are Minato and Kushina. The Hokage says, not sure what Naruto was talking about. I know that old man. They may have given birth to me but they did not raise me. Beside the Red Death is a weird nickname or tomato. In addition, the Yellow Flash, I do not understand where that came from. Naruto tells them only a few knew of the tomato nickname. The third looks closely at Naruto before laughing. I must say you have done your digging but you're not their son. You're too old to be him. You know we can search out Uzushiogakure, Mirai says to Naruto, who nods his head. You are out of date. Uzushiogakure was destroyed in the last Great War, and Anbu shouts. Really? Then would you by chance know of any place we may find a safe haven to watch and defend this planet? Mirai asks with a small bow. Naruto's eyes scan over everyone trying to find what made him feel uneasy. His eyes shift to the trees. Sarah follows his eyes, spotting a new Terran that gave of a snake-like feel. Naruto aches under his cloak, gripping the handle of his rifle. Naruto grins to himself. Looking out of the corner of his eye he sees Kashian also was looking at the Terran. We have company, Naruto says, bringing his rifle out and aiming it at the Terran. Everyone looks up to see him grinning down at them like a madman he was. You are great, good if you could spot me, the man says, standing like nothing could hurt him. Well, it was easy, you are the only one that reeks of Zerg, Naruto says, making every Templar all get ready to attack the man. How is you reek of them, but the scan show no Z-E-R-G. By the void, what are you? Templar Naruto, what is it? Kashian asks, now feeling uneasy with the chances of Zerg here. This is the Terran I spotted, but how was he able to travel like that? Naruto said, keeping the Terran in his sights. It was easy one if found the scroll. The Overman thought it could control me, only I control it my own brood. You kill a good number of them. The purple color ones, I believe, the Terran laughs. Orochimaru, what have you done? The Hokage has asked in shock. Sensei, I have become more powerful and completed my jutsu because of the Zerg, the Terran yells out. I will not let a Zerg get a foothold here on this plant, Naruto yells before firing into the Terran only to rip an arm off. Sarah opens fire from her hiding spot, missing his head by a hair. The Terran jumps down and starts to run the other way, laughing the whole time. 4 Templars run after him with Naruto blinking across the field leading them. Sarah uncloaks and follows to cover them. Tsunade runs after them as well with 4 Anbu. The Hokage remains in place trying to figure what in the world was going on. Looking at the 2 remaining Templars that could be seen still. Who are you? And what do you want? He demands. If they could, both Templars would have smile. Kashian speaks once again, we have left our home world in hopes to build a new Protoss MP. And to guard you Terrans from the Zerg if they do show up. Seeing as Templar Naruto is unable to give you this, I will. She hands over a scroll with the Hokage's seal on it. Naruto places his rifle on his back as he draws his sai sword. The blade glow a blood red as it came down only to cut a piece of wood into two. Spinning, Naruto kicks the Terran back with a sound blow to his chest. The Terran laughs as he stands back up. Cracking his back, the Terran shacks both his arms. Naruto eyes get big seeing both eyes. Taking the opening, the Terran attacks with a small metal blade. Naruto throws himself back as the blade pass over his nose. Doing a flip, Naruto tries to kick the man in the chin only to miss. Flipping back onto his hands, Naruto grins. Good, you will be a challenge, Naruto says with a fox-like grin only a few saw. Charging in, Naruto ducks under the knife. Blinking again, Naruto rotates on the spot, cutting into a log again. Elbow strike behind him, Naruto activates his third blade. The Terran jumps back. Making hand signs, the Terran cheeks puff up before blowing out a large ball of fire. Blinking again, Naruto uses his psi powers to cause a thunderstorm to form around the Terran. Leaping back, the Terran pants lighting as Naruto just stands there looking bored now. The Terran looks ready to hurl only for a sword to come out of his mouth. Grabbing it, the Terran attacks. Naruto does the best he can do to stay alive. He was no use to anyone attacking him with a sword. Most Templars pick a staff or arm blade for a weapon. The Terran for his part was grinning like a made snake. He had scored 2 light hits to Naruto and was going strong. He now saw that Naruto only knew the basics of sword play. Doing another advance move only for Naruto to get nick again. Growling, he could not understand how Naruto was able to do move like that. This style was made to take down the Uchihas. But here was a man who was not an Uchiha and was able to dodge the attacks. What are you? The Terran yells out as Naruto dodges another attack. Putting his sword away, Naruto pulls out his staff and attacks. He could feel Sarah in place to cover him if need be. Naruto speaks only when they both jump back. I am a Dark Templar. Naruto yells as he jumps back into the fight, now pushing the Terran back using a style he never seen before. The Terran starts to curse, feeling the sting of the staff 2 times than a third. Growls aloud, the Terran places them on level ground now. Showing his hand out, 4 snakes shout out at Naruto, who leaps away eyes wide again. The 4 other Templars jump in, uncloaking themselves to give Naruto time to rest before attacking again. Naruto watches the 4 Templars he worked the most with fought as 1 Templar covering 1 other weak spots. Tsunade lands next to him with Sarah. Speaking in Kalani as Tsunade look at the cuts he had, Naruto tells Sarah a few things. He has Zerg DNA in him. He heals too quickly to be a pure Terran like you. But I want tea. Oh no, how he knows Blink and made that fireball. Do not let the snakes touch you. He is powerful. Those 4 are having a hard time themselves. I have seen you fight with them. He is stronger than those masked men earlier. Sarah replies as Naruto stands up, leaps back into the battle. The 4 Templars leap back to rest and turn their cloaks back on. The Terran swallows his sword and begins to fight Naruto in hand-to-hand combat, only to find once again Naruto to fight using unknown style. Tsunade and Sarah both winces seeing Naruto arm bend a way it should not bend. Using his pinky as a second thumb, Naruto grabs the Terran shirt. Flipping over him, then throws the Terran into a tree, breaking it. Leaping up and flipping into the trees, Naruto watches as 2 hands shout out of the ground where his legs once been. Digging himself out of the ground, the Terran starts to laugh. Ku, you surprise me to no end, Templar-kun. But seeing as more of your friends are about to arrive, I must leave. But we will meet again, I can't wait for that day, the man says before sinking into the ground. Leaping down to the ground, Naruto walks over to the spot the Terran was last out. Looking closely, he cannot find any signs of the dirt being pushed out of the way other than the one attack he tried. Touching the ground, Naruto frowns. One of the Templars walks over to look at the ground as well. Weird power. Like your cloak of fire, the Templar says, touching the ground as well. Yes, it uses the same energy I use when I use the cloak. Templar Talcine, I want you and your brothers to track this Terran down. Remain in the shadows, we need to know if there are any Zerg on the planet, Naruto tells him as they both stand up. With a nod of the head, Talcine and his brothers go on the hunt. Naruto turns to look at Sarah and grins softly at her. Shaking her head, she fires a low-power round into his arm. Next time I am taking the arm off, she says in Kalani before walking over to him. What's the plan now? We get back to the other Templars and see how they are doing. The village may take Yugito and Nova to train in their art. But we will stay with the tribe, Naruto tells her looking at Tsunade and the Anbu. Well, let's get going then, Sarah says loading a fresh clip into her rifle. Naruto nods his head before grabbing her and vanishing in a blink. I got the target in my sights ready to take him out. Hold your fire. We do not need a war going on here. Copy that. Come on, why are we sitting way back here? I want to make him bleed. Easy. You know this is how we fight. He just crosses the line. Copy that. Hold. Quote ellipsis quote. Give him one right in between the eyes. Roger. Bam. Confirm hit. Hit confirms, target is down. Let pack up and hit the trails. Man, I really wanted to kill him. You can get the next one we go after. Naruto behind you. What? Son of, Naruto says leaping away as rifle rounds begin to fly into the hiding spot he was just at. Running across the top of a wall, Naruto fires down at a group of Terrans. Hearing a loud whining sound, Naruto curses in Kalani as he blinks into a blown-out building. Damn it to the void. They are not supposed to have any air units here. Naruto yells, opening fire as he runs across the floor, shooting out the windows. Sliding under a table, Naruto crash into a counter of some kind. Pulling himself up, he leaps through a large hole in the wall as 10 rockets rush into the place he just left. Sealing away his rifle, Naruto blinks above the Banshee. Pulling out his staff, Naruto activates the Sai Blade. In it as he rams it into the cockpit, killing the pilot. Blinking again, Naruto lands on the ground in a run. More rifle fire is heard as Sarah covers him. Sliding under a weird floating tank, Naruto fires back at the Marines chasing him. Leaping back up, Naruto blinks again, finally able to get away. Catching his breath, Naruto looks out, wondering what was going on. Naruto, you okay? I'm safe for now. Sarah, what about you and ANKO? We are in an old command center. Something big is going down. They got a train here being guarded by siege tanks. Hack into their network. Let's see what's going on out here. Okay, I'm in. Looks like they are. Naruto, Jim is here, he attacking the trains. But why? What could be here on Tarsinus? Unless he thinks they found my remains. No, something else is here that he wants. Let's find out what. So we are going to blow up a few trains of our own then? No. ANKO will blow up every train she can as we cover her. Oh Naruto, did I tell you how much I love you? Any problems with that, Sarah? No, but I am going to take a pill. I can feel the meds wearing off. Of all the times, okay, rest up, I will cover ANKO until you feel better. Beside worst come to worst, we will get you to your friend's base. Quote, no, I can cover still. Sarah, Foxy-kun is right. If you lose control, we could be dealing with 2 problems, not just 1. Quote ellipsis quote. Sarah, right now we need you to rest anyways. Sarah, where you are at now can monitor what's going on without being seen. If it would make you feel better, Sarah, I can make it an order. No, I will stay, just kill a few siege tanks for me. We will. ANKO places her hand on Sarah's shoulder before giving her a small smile. Once she got one in return, she bolts out of the old building. Spinning in the chair, Sarah turns on a few of the planet-side defense cannons online. Changing the targets, she hopes she could give them and Jim both some extra cover. Sir, planet defense just came online. Hell Jimmy, this is just like old times. Can it Tychus? Matt, any idea why they be turned on now? The Dominion could be using them to guard the trains, sir. Damn, we are going to need to hit the trains in blind spots. Pull up the overlies of the cannons. This is Dominion base Charlie to any Dominion forces that can hear this. We have come under attack by an unknown forcer. Tosh, is this you're doing? No brother. But I may who be the man who is. Naruto, when we are done you got a lot to talk about, Sarah yells over the comm, forgetting who could hear her. Wow, Foxy-kun already having love spats. Quote ellipsis quote. What was that? Yay, what did you do? Nothing. Just turn off the feeling in your right pinky finger. Next time I am stopping you summoning your snakes. But that was my favorite pinky. I really hate it when you start using your psi powers like that. No wonder why the council wants you and your group dead. You know you're part of that group, right? What? Okay, I got planet defense online to cover you too. Got one train coming in online too. Give me a minute to lock onto the escorts before you two move in. I'm not waiting. ANKO, wait, they got some new kind of ship flying. Sarah, it's no use talking her out of it, just takes it down first. I can deal with everything else. Hi. Hyperion. Jim Raynor along with his right-hand man stood looking over a hollow map of the battlefield. Looking at the planet C. The defense he tried to figure out who this new group could be. Watching as another train starts moving he sees two people running at high speed at the train. The screen shows bullets being fired from one of the figures at the armor units guarding the train. The other one picks up speed if that was even possible. Jim watches as he leaps over two Dominion marauders placing something on them. Running alongside of the train, the person leaps onto it before crawling at a good speed along the side of the train. Dang, we never did that, Jimmy, a man in large blue armor suit says walking up to the screen. Matt, what do you think these people are? Jim asks his right-hand man. Rogue ghost maybe, sir. I am not. Matt stops speaking as the other figure vanish, then appear on top of a tank before vanishing again. That's Blink. Jim shouts, seeing Protoss units on another planet use the very same move. They got to be Protoss. Sir, I am not reading any Protoss biosignatures on the planet other than maybe someone who got a blood transfer from one. Whoever they are not Protoss. Also I am picking up Zerg life form on the planet nearby. Pulling it up on screen, sir, Matt saw pressing a few buttons. A red box forms over a blown-out command center. Sarah, they found you. If you can get out and run. She took the pills right before I left Naruto. Shit. ANKO, can you finish? Ready to blow this thing sky high, Foxy-kun. Good, then blow it and grab whatever they got inside. Meet back at the ship. Do you think they know they are talking over an open channel? Jim asks, no one really, not knowing he had the mic on. We do, Jim Raynor. Everyone jumps back as a voice floats over the bridge. Looking at the mic, Jim wonders how they knew his name. Then again, he was public enemy number 1. On the screen a person pops up. He runs from cover and made a mad run for the command center. I want whatever men we can spare to get to that command center before he doesn't find out who is there. Jim orders, wanting know what was going on, over the comm. Pig. What? Matt says, wondering what that meant. It was the first thing I ever said to you, Jim. Back when everything was normal and easy to understand. Jim knew everyone was looking at him as he tries to place being called a pig, then it clicks. Sarah, what happened to you? Where are you? Your men are already coming for me. IW. Old, pull them back. Naruto may attack them if he feels anything that could put me in danger. You heard her, pull them back. Jim says, his eyes big, knowing someone he cared for greatly was still alive. Sir, what about the Zerg? Matt starts only for the comm to crackle again. Dominion base Charlie, this is the battle cruiser Tahoe. We are replying to code red. Charge Yamato, let take them down before they get a chance to fire. Jim says, is this battle now turned into a space battle, something that really did not want. Jim watches his small fleet move to attack the battle cruiser. Looking at energy. Y output sees the Yamato cannon was only 50% charge and growls. We need the cannon to charge now, Jim tells Matt, who starts giving orders. All batteries forward fire. Divert all unnecessary system to charging the Yamato cannon. Matt orders as the Tahoe starts to take damage. Watching closely he sees the Yamato fully charge. Fire the Yamato. Everyone on the bridge watches as the cannon fire a large ball of energy into the Tahoe head on. The Tahoe seems to hold until a secondary explosion shook the ship. The portside hang bay explodes full by the starboard hangar. The Tahoe slowly starts to tilt to the planet. Another explosion rips through the hull near the engines before the ship is fully engulfed by a large ball of fire. Within seconds the Tahoe is destroyed before it could fire. Have all ships look for life pods. I hope someone made it off the ship, Jim says before looking back at the battle-going planet side. He finds 3 people standing over a large metal case. Looking at the energy output he wonders what it is, then suddenly it vanish along with the 3 people, one being Sarah. Damn it, we lost them and whatever the Dominion was trying to move, Jim yells, slamming his hands down onto the screen. Standing up he walks off the bridge to get a drink he was in need of. Getting to the door the comm crackles to life. This is the rift to the Hyperion, Sarah said over the comm. To Jim it sounded like she was in pain and not feeling well. We are coming alongside you. Jim looked to Matt, who nods his head. Riff, come up to the port side hatch, I will meet your crew members there. Jim made his way through the ship trying not to run. With only a 1/4 the way to go he broke out in a run. It'd been 4 years and we wanted to see, hold, and talk to Sarah again. Sliding to a stow. He found Tosh with rifle rays pointing at the airlock with 4 others all ready to fire. The hatch steamed slowly before opening. Standing there was a young man with blonde hair. He had on a tan shirt under a green vest. The vest had what looked like Protoss armor plating stitched into it. Around his forehead was a metal band with what looked like a swirl and an arrow etched into it, together. He had an dark pants cover with armor plating with a green glow to it. Over this he had black coat with red flames along the bottom with a tan cloak over that. Looking closely Jim could see 2 psi blades. E-Man blue eyes lock onto Jim before moving to Tosh then the rest. Letting out a small laugh the man says something in his native tongue. A minute later 2 more people show up. The first was a purple hair woman. Like the male she had the same type of headband. She is wearing a black tank top under a chainmail shirt. Her tan skirt matches her trench coat and cloak. On her shins she had Protoss plating. The chainmail shirt was also used Protoss tech. Looking closely you could see the shield covering her. Behind her was another Terran woman, or was fully Terran. She was dressed in a standard Ghost uniform battle suit. The suit had parts replaced with Protoss cloth or metal plating. On her right arm was a psi blade. Handing of her shoulder was her battle rifle. Jim could not see her eyes but her hair was brown like dreadlocks. The woman looks up. Jim steps back and pulls out his sidearm aiming it at her. The woman's eyes were a mix of glowing yellow and deep green. Her skin was lightly tan with a hint of Zerg exo skin. The woman takes a step back as well and looks hurt seeing Jim aim at her. Jim, it's me. The man did not seem to liking this and already had his psi blades out. The fair woman had 2 knives in her hand as well ready to fight. I thought this guy was supposed to be your friend Sarah, the man says moving in front of her. Jim lowers his gun but keeps it in hand. Prove to me you're Sarah. I told you before my men got left behind to stop with your White Knight act and I would be fine. Turn out we almost all died that day, Sarah says softly before collapsing. Naruto grabs her holding her up. I thought you took the pills, Naruto says seeing the truth in her eyes. I wanted to help still. Also ANKO may have gone on a killing spree, Sarah said with a forced smile. Sarah taking those pills is the only thing keeping the Zerg DNA at bay, ANKO said not looking back. Naruto pulls out a needle and gives Sarah an injection. Jim watches as the pain vanish from her face only to show signs of being tired. He knew both of the egghead and the doc would want to get their hands on it. Naruto help her sit down before turning to look at Jim. We are not here to fight Raynor. The only reason I am not attacking you is because you're an old friend of Sarah-chan. Now lower your weapons and no one will get hurt, Naruto says standing to his full height. Jim took a step back seeing Naruto only a few inches shorter than he was. He also notes his eyes glow blue like the Protoss, with a hint of yellow near the edges. ANKO moved to cover Sarah as Naruto pulls out his staff. Now lower your weapons. I will not tell you again. Jim holsters his pistol before telling his men to lower their weapons. Naruto nods his head before picking up Sarah in a bridal carry. Kerrigan. G her back into the rift. Naruto lays her down on a medical bed in the main hold. Sarah grabs onto the cloak. Rest, you need it, Naruto says pushing a few strands of hair out of her face and gives her his foxy grin. Hi, Sarah says letting go and closing her eyes to rest. ANKO stands in the doorway keeping an eye on Raynor making sure he did not try anything. Jim sat down in a chair looking at the two. His heart aches seeing the two act like that. Shaking his head he looks at Naruto. Naruto pulls up his own chair to face Jim, pulling out his entire weapon he lays them down within arm's reach. Leveling his eyes on him Naruto frowns. Speak your mind Raynor, Naruto says leaning back into the chair. ANKO looks down to see more of Raynor's men showed up but stayed in place. Pulling out a kunai she holds it in mid-air stopping Tosh who tried to sneak onto the rift cloaked. Tosh lowers the cloak and grins. I mean no harm sister. ANKO roundhouse kick him back into the battle cruiser before shouting at him. I am not your sister. First who are you people, Jim asks. I am Templar Naruto. That is Jonin ANKO who just kicks your ghost back, Naruto said looking at ANKO who crack her neck. Seeing the Marines start to raise their rifles. ANKO no killing. Whatever you say Foxy-kun, ANKO said before vanishing. Do not worry she been unable to fight anyone lately, Naruto said looking back at Jim. I will take your word for it. How do you know Sarah, Jim demands. Save her along with Nova and Yugito. Since then we have been working together, Naruto tells him. Where have you two been for the last 4 years? Jim says leaning forward. The planet I was born on, Naruto says. Jim picks up that Naruto did not say home world and wonder why. Why are you here? He asks trying to ignore the screams. Same reason Sarah-chan is infected by Zerg DNA. We are hunting down a high-ranked criminal who we had word was supposed to be meeting someone on the planet below, Naruto tells him holding up his hand. 6 months ago we came close in killing the person. But it turns out to be a trap to get either me or Sarah. Well, he got her. Took 2 months to find her. At this point she was fighting the Zerg DNA strand in her body. He had been give her drugs to see what happened if the DNA strand was slowed down. Took use another month to stop the strand from evolving anymore. The median she is taking now only delays it. We are hoping to find a cure to kill the strand or force it to stop completely. She has 2 years at most before the median stops working. So it's the strand that's making her this frail. Jim asks looking at Sarah's sleeping form. No. In fact the strand increase her powers and strength right now I can only think of maybe 3 or 2 Protoss that could stand up to her in power. Now is there anything else or can I go stop ANKO for destroying your ship? Naruto says standing up. What do you plan on doing once you kill this person? Jim said. You mean what I plan on doing with Sarah-chan? She can stay with you or return with ANKO and me. I am not forcing her to do anything, Naruto said before leaving. Jim just sat there looking at Sarah. Part of him knew Naruto had a place in her heart as well. Pulling his chair over to the bed Jim holds her hand hoping to whatever god was out there she would stay. So why are we here again? ANKO groans as she sat with her 2 teammates and Tosh. They have been with the Rainer Raiders for about 2 weeks. They had helped Tosh get some weird gas he need. Now Jim old friend talk him into going after some weird item. Sarah just smiles at her friend. ANKO could see she seemed strained at times but was doing better. Naruto was once again having a side battle with Tosh. Because we do not have any more leads on your sensei and doctor. Hansen also made a breakthrough with Zerg infection I have, Sarah says looking at her friend. She was in a baggy white shirt and one of Naruto's pants she raided from him, not that he cares. Her clothing was mainly her combat suit that Tosh also upgraded with a few things. Going back to watching the battle she lets out a small laugh seeing Tosh lose once again. You win again brother, Tosh says with his weird smile. I have more training as all, and grew up with the Protoss, Naruto tells him with his own smile. He had on a black shirt and orange pants. Like Sarah he was not wearing any shoes or sandals. It was about this time Jim walked into the cantina with Tychus Findley. With a grin he walks over to them. We are coming up onto Zil. I wonder if you would be willing to join the landing team, Jim asks them. Mainly Naruto and ANKO. Naruto look at ANKO who would go not matter what just to get to stretch her legs. Looking at Sarah he knew drive. Hansen would say no just so she could keep an eye on her. Me and ANKO will go down, Naruto said to Jim Raynor picking up his drink only for Sarah to steal it from him. We agree no drinking before a mission, she tells him in his native tongue. Fine let's get ready ANKO, Naruto says standing up as Sarah downs his drink. ANKO gives Sarah her bottle of beer before standing up and join Naruto to get their gear on. Sarah downs ANKO's before getting up as well. She smiles at Jim who returns it, I better go check in with Dr. Hansen. She probably needs some more blood or something anyways. I can walk, Jim starts only for Sarah to shake her head. You got to get ready as well. I will be fine beside Tosh here can take me can't you Tosh? Tosh was trying to sneak away only to be caught before he could even move. Grumbling and squeezing one of his dolls Tosh agrees. Okay just get better, Jim says before heading to get ready. Sarah grabs Tosh as they make their way to the med bay. Planet side. Yes finally real Kami to honest dirt. ANKO cries out kissing the ground. Naruto just takes a few deep breaths to centers himself, as the void begins to talk to him again in 2 years. Smiling he begins to head out. ANKO jumps up to join him knowing point will be the most fun. Following them was a small group of marauders, marines and medics. Following the trail both ANKO and Naruto pick up on the tell signs of battle. Naruto pick more up onto it was Protoss weapons that we're use. Not a minute later did they run into 3 Protoss, 3 zealots and a stalker. Leap in battle before the rest of the Terrans. Could even knew what happened. Anko had killed the stalker with Naruto destroying all the zealots. Dang you guys, rogue ghost or something like that. Tosh guy, one of the marines asks, gawking at the damage Naruto and Anko left. No. We are better than those scrawny ghosts. Anko starts only for Naruto to hit her on the back of the head as he walks by down the trail. What the heck, Foxy-kun, was that for? For talking too much. We are going to need something that can hit from a good way off, or… Naruto looks at Anko, who growls back at him. No, I am not bringing him out. He servers, that traitor. I do not need him knowing where we are at. Anko shouts at him. Fine, but you got to talk Sarah into letting us drink before missions. I really hate fighting Protoss, Naruto says, looking up a small hill. Is that why you force their armor to recall them? Anko says with a grin. Shut it. Rainer, we need some siege tanks here, Naruto says as he reaches out, feeling everything around him. We can't move forward without them. Hold on, armor is inbound, Jim says over the comm. Not a minute later, 2 siege tanks sat ready and waiting to do some pounding. Changing into siege mood, Naruto told them to start firing on a pylon near some cannons. Within seconds the pylon is destroyed, letting Naruto and the raiders destroy the cannons. Rolling up to another hill, Naruto blinks down to a stacker, destroying it before it knew what happened. Another stacker runs down a small dirt ramp to advance his fallen comrade, only for Anko to launch a large fireball at it, destroying its shields within a minute. The siege tank then opens fires on it. Waiting for everyone, Naruto can't help but feel something was wrong. Moving into the base, Naruto waits for it to come online. Looking at Anko, she gives him a nod, feeling the same thing. Something big was going to happen, and it was aimed at them. As Rainer built up his defenses, Naruto and Anko went exploring. Hyperion. Well, you are looking good. Next mission Jim takes, you can go planet side. Dr. Ariel Hansen said after giving Sarah a physical. Right now she was taking a blood sample in hopes it would give her a better chance at finding a cure for Sarah. There were also the chances of finding a biological weapon that would wipe out the Zerg race, even though she did not want to make one. That's good to hear, Sarah says as she relaxes. Ariel sat down across from her as she went over everything. You know, between you and me, I think your friend Naruto is cute, Ariel says, wanting to see what Sarah would do. You do? Sarah stutters, not sure how to answer. Yes, do you know if he is taken? Ariel asks. In her mind Naruto was cute, but she wanted her knight in shiny armor. She had hid her plan deep into her mind, away from Sarah's side power probing. Rin's seeing the battle going on in Sarah about how to answer. Yes and no, Sarah says, dropping her shoulders. I see, so I am going to need to beat Anko, Ariel asks, wondering now what she meant. Sarah shakes her head. We kind of 2 adopted daughters or younger sisters. When he found me on, will you know? We found them hiding in a diner. When we took them to a clothing outlet, I told them I would keep them safe. Once back on Naruto's birth planet, he needs my signature on a few papers to keep them under his care. After about a month he had his own fan club following him around, asking him out. I asked him about it. He told me Yugito and Nova would get first and last say. He does not want them living with some person who marry him for political gain. So you 2 left them behind to hunt some person down? Ariel asked her. No, Naruto, mother and teacher is watching them for us. Zirana dotes over them like any loving grandmother should, I think. Sarah shakes her head before going on. And you? Gao is really his cousin, but because of his mother's family household was broken into like 3 groups, she has a different last name. They are both the last ones of, as they call it on the planet, the clan. Ariel nods her head and smiles, seeing they both did not just up and left like she first thought. Zirana does not sound Terran. It's Protoss. Zirana is not his birth mother, Sarah tells her. So why have you not laid claim to Naruto yet? Sounds like Yugito and Nova both would not mind you if you live with them for about 4 years and save them, Ariel inquires. She really wanted Jim for herself. Sarah starts to stutter and unable to form words. After a minute she forms a few. Well, it's like, kind like, I do not. Ariel just laughs lightly. Well, we know you like him, and what about Jim Raynor? Jim, Sarah says in a low voice. I do like and care for him, but he has changed. Something happened after I left that made him change, and it was not my leaving, it's something else. Why do you say that? Ariel wondering about that. Because, it's not just me, he would have been his old self within 2 days flat. But I think it's something to do with the Zerg. Ariel pats Sarah's shoulder before standing up and getting her glass of water. Here, drink up. I kind figure that out from him asking if I could find a way to reverse the Zerg infection. Do you know what is eating at him? Sarah asks, looking up at Ariel. No, I do not. Ariel lies, not wanting to add more problems for the girl. Oh, okay, Sarah says, drinking the water. Well, we are done here. Oh, Sarah, if you really like him, you should tell him. Ariel says before leaving to go do some test on the blood. Sarah stands up and walks to the bridge after finds Tosh making a run for it. Once on the bridge, she walks over to Matt, who shifts a little. How are they doing? Sarah asks. We are about halfway into the temple and found 3 Protoss relics. Naruto and ANKO are both in one of the Protoss base doing what ANKO calls having fun. Matt says, not sure if he had heard her right. Yes, ANKO is the demolition expert on the team. Naruto is our close rank fighter with me covering them with a sniper rifle. But even it just 2 of us, we still can do a lot of damage, Sarah says, watching a Nexus explode from a seal tag. About that, either of them are carrying explosives on them at all? Matt asks Sarah as she pulls out a small tag. These tags have the same explosive force as a siege tank. ANKO and Naruto have more powerful one that can level city block with just 1 tag. Naruto even made one to release about 30 rockets. He only uses it once, saying it still need work, Sarah said, putting the tag away. You 2 always say birth planet, why not home world or planet? Matt asks, looking up at Sarah. Because that's what it is to him. He was born there but grew up elsewhere, Sarah answers, watching her friends clear a path of destruction through a large Protoss base until the screen died. What the hell, Swan, we just. Matt says over the comm, only to get cut off. Yeah, I know someone down there is jamming us, Swan replies. Sarah reaches out and feels both ANKO and Naruto talking to a ghost. Planet side. Greetings, I am Duran, the ghost says, keeping his mask on. ANKO narrow her eyes as Naruto relaxes a little, seeing and feeling no threat coming from the ghost, yet. What can we do for you, Duran? Naruto asks, left side of his mouth twitches. Reaching under his cloak, he grabs hold of his last side blade. I have come to offer my help to you. We have a common friend, so to speak. While we both were for the same person, our friend endangers my work. In fact, I believe he plans on taking control of my work and removing our master, Duran says, holding out a picture of Orochimaru. Why meet us here, not on the ship? ANKO asks, looking at Naruto, seeing if she could take lead on this. Naruto nods back to her. I have made a few enemies among your new friends group. They would like nothing less putting a bullet through my head if they could, Duran says with a bow of his head. ANKO shifts and pulls out a small revolver and aims it at Duran. Naruto grabs her arms, pushing it down. Tell me, Duran, what did you do to make them wish to send you to the void? Naruto asks. I allied myself with the King of Blades, the ruler of the Zerg swarm, Duran tells them, grinning under the mask. I say, then make it quick, I do not like people who work with the Zerg, Naruto tells him, letting ANKO go and pulling out his staff. Coming from the person who has a Zerg-infected Terran in their group, Uran says, raising his hands, meaning no harm. You hunt Orochimaru. You will find him next to the King of Blades on Char. By hiding there, he is able to use the King of Blades to bring him human Tetsu BJECTS and help him increase the swarm's strength. In the long run it is good. But for you it's bad. It's bad either way. I have fought the Zerg and its kind for years. I have not faced them of late, but I hope they still are a challenge. But from what the Void has told me, it seems the Protoss have made good headway. They no longer are losing ground, now they are gaining ground, Naruto says, leveling his staff at Duran. Now tell me what you truly came here for. To see you. You are a hybrid of Protoss, Terran and Xel'Naga. A god in the form of a Terran unmatched, but only a few. Orochimaru, my master, and myself are probably the only ones to be able to take you on, Duran says with a low sweeping bow. Naruto shift just so, making it impossible to tell if he did unless you look for it like ANKO was. Pulling out a kunai, she holsters the revolver and get ready summon her large snake she could, damning if Orochimaru finds them. I wish to find out how you came into being. ANKO had about up to her neck with the bull Duran was spewing out. Throwing the kunai, ANKO runs through 10 hand seals before slamming her hands down onto the ground, summoning the largest snake, noted Terran, Protoss, Zerg and a few monkeys. Both Duran and Naruto leap back as the area is covered in a large cloud of smoke. Orochimaru, you better have a good reason for SSSS summoning me here, a voice said through the smoke emphasizing on the S. As the smoke cleared, Duran's eyes got big seeing the large snake. The snake was purple with black strip and a black belly. Shooting back his head was 4 horns aiming to his tail. ANKO was standing on his head with her hand pressing down onto its scales. I am not the traitor Manda. If you help me I let you kill as many Protoss and eat them as you want, ANKO says. Hoping to keep Manda from turning on her. ISSSSS smells Zerg and Terran. Is that Protoss as well coming from that man? Manda hisses looking at Duran. Probably, you kill him you get the rest of the Protoss on the planet to eat. ANKO tells him, biting her tongue when she feels the cure's mark on her neck starting to act up. So this is the fame Manda that Orochimaru spoke of. This will be no trouble at all. Duran says, throwing out a psionic storm at Manda, making ANKO leap away to survive. Manda dives underground to get away only to run into another one. Forcing to return to his realm, He would punish Orochimaru later for what happened to him. As I said earlier, only Naruto here could stand up to me, Duran says with a sneer. Then let's dance. The void awaits you, Duran. And I shall be the one sending you there. Naruto says, bringing his last Sai blade into the fight. The katana-like blade springs to life, glowing orange now. Duran pulls out his own, in the form of a bow staff. Both leap into battle, clocking weapons as they meet. Naruto reaches out at blinks behind Duran, trying to get him with a cross cut. Duran leaps over him, landing with a leg sweep. Naruto leaps and flips Ove. And out of the way of a large fireball, ANKO fires at them. Landing, Naruto charges in after the ball of fire, knowing it probably would not kill Duran. Duran lets the ball hit him, not planning on Naruto following through with a cut at his legs. Throwing himself back, Duran lets out a curse, feeling the cut cauterizes. Naruto keeps up the attack, not letting Duran any time to breath. A few of Nor's men show up, wondering what happened to them, nearly get caught in the fight. Thanks to ANKO quick work, she pulls them and throws them back. Ducking under Duran's blade, ANKO lodges a kunai into his shoulder blade before replacing herself with a destroy stalker. Duran pulls the kunai out and grins under his mask. My master was right about you. We will meet again real soon. And next time we fight, you will not be able to hide behind others, Duran says before blinking away. Naruto lets out a growl but lowers his weapon, knowing Duran got away. That little, ANKO starts only for Naruto to cut her off. We will get him next time. And next time Sarah-chan will be fighting alongside us, Naruto says, spitting on the ground. You do not outrun from the void. Looking at the remains of the Protoss base, Naruto is surprised at how much they destroyed after the fight with Duran began. All that was left was a nexus and a warp gate powered by a pylon. Walking over to it, Naruto destroy the pylon before pulling out the main computer crystal in the gateway. So what that for? A marine asks Naruto, who pockets the crystal. Something I am working on for later, Naruto answers before looking down at the temple. How much longer before they are in? A few more minutes, sir. We probably should go and meet the entry team by the door, sir, the marine answers, looking at the temple as well. Let's get moving then. Maybe I can make few more Protoss bleed, ANKO says with a loving sigh before walking away. Naruto shakes his head before walking behind her. Placing both hands behind the back of his Naruto looks up into space, wondering how Sarah was doing. Few hours later, planet side. Naruto sat on top of the Draken laser drill that was now offline. He was able to talk Rainer into letting them stay over the planet for a few extra days. One, he wanted to study the temple a little bit longer. 2, ANKO was dying to do something, so he let her take Tosh and 3 Marines and find any more Protoss on the planet. He had to tell her scouting and recon missions only, no killing. The info from the Nexus he was able to copy and download made him uneasy. Zeratul had killed his other adopted mother. Looking more into it, he found out why. Part of him wanted to hate Zeratul, but another part knew what Zeratul did was the only thing he could do. Naruto felt someone sit down next to him, looking over, he saw the last reason he talked Rainer into staying. Sarah once again was dressed in his clothing, only this time she had her shirt she wore under armor on. You going to be okay? Sarah asks as They look out over the silent battlefield that only a few hours earlier was alive with gun, cannon fire and screams of pain and death. Yes, just a few things happened today I did not plan for, Naruto says looking at her. Sarah lays her head on his shoulder making Naruto stiffen up a little before relaxing. Who was he? Sarah asks closing her eyes. I knew who he was not. He is not a friend or someone I will trust at all. The way he moves and talks does not sit right with me, Naruto tells her. We will take him down next time Naruto, Sarah says looking up at him as he looks down at her and grins. Beside we promised the girl we would keep them safe no matter what. And you never go back on your word. No, promise me something please, never change. Naruto blinks his eyes before nodding, I promise Sarah to never change. Good. Because I like you the way you are now, Sarah says before kissing him on the lips softly. Naruto frees up again before leaning into the kiss returning it. See. Oma Nova we are going to be late again, Yugito yells back at her sister as they rush to school. Nova throws a kunai handle first into the back of her sister's head. Only because you wanted to get sushi for breakfast. Do not try blaming this on me, Nova yells back at her as she passed her turning it into a race. Oh last one there gets to do dishes for a month. You're on, Yugito yells making people on the streets look at them. Coming up to a large red and white building both pick up speed hearing a large bell ring telling them they only had 5 minutes to get to class. Right as the last bell rings both makes it to their classroom. Yugito, Nova why are you both late again, their sensei yells at them. He stood a little over 5 feet 8 inches tall. The man has brown hair that he keeps in a ponytail dark eyes and a gash across the bridge of his nose which he has had since his youth. He wears the standard Konoha shinobi outfit complete with forehead protector, sandals and flak jacket. Both Yugito and Nova share a look before speaking at the same time. Yugito wanted to get sushi so we had to wait for her order. Nova would not get out of bed in time to get breakfast. Their sense. I groans knowing both are telling the truth and speaking at the same time to stay out of trouble. Go to your seats. We will deal with this later. Hiruka-sensei, both say before running to their seats in the back of class. Nova had her hair in messy wolf tail keeping it out of her green eyes. She had on a skin-tight tank top jumpsuit. The cloth had armor weave into it making it able to stand up to a kunai thrown from a genin in a few weak chunin. The armor itself was a dark gray running from the top of her neck to just above both her knees. Around her waist is a dark gray belt holding her tool pouch. A combat knife and 2 extra clips of ammo for the rifle she was working on with Sarah. Yugito is wearing a black and white shirt. The top part of the shirt was black stopping right just under the top of her rib cage. Both sleeves were also black. She had on purple pants with clouds on the bottom of the legs. Her kunai holster was tied to her right thigh with her own combat knife. Unlike her sister she did not like the feel of the rifle so she began to make a side blade staff like Naruto's. Only problem was both Sarah and Naruto told them they could not use it on the field until they became genin and their jonin sensei gave them the okay to use it. Both of them had their own fan club and following of boys. One for who their guardians was, mainly Naruto. The other because only the other girls who dieted they did a lot of training to keep the fat away and get a well-defined body. Only problem was 2 clan heirs who kept trying to get them. And both started the first day they joined the academy. Flashback. 2 years earlier a month after arriving. It was the first day of the next school year and the parents once again walk with their children into the classroom. Year they did this so they would get an understanding what would happen. But this time the clan heads look forward to this one. Rumor was 2 new students would be joining both posts to be able to take on a chunin on their own. Sarah dress in a white shirt and black pants walk with Nova and Yugito trying to find the classroom. She had her combat boots on to hide her knife in case she needs it. On her right leg was a tactical thigh holster holding her pistol. Her hair was cut back a little so when let down it only reached mid-back. Rolling her shoulder Sarah tries to do her best to get used to the clothing she was in. Looking at the girls Sarah smiles seeing them talking to one another about their new home. Coming up to the door she notes they were not the last people to get there. Walking in she spots a lot of the clan heads. Go find some seats girls, Sarah says pushing the girls as she walks up to an open seat by a woman with long spiky brown hair, vertical slit-like pupils, elongated canine teeth and nails. She has fang markings on her cheeks as well as markings over her eyes and a dark shade of purple lipstick. She was wearing the standard outfit of a Konoha shinobi. As she made her way, Sarah holds her head high as many of the men watch her move. Taking the seat, she closes her eyes and relaxes into the chair. Both Nova and Yugito got seats in the front of the class next to one another. Both look around the room wondering who the strongest student in the room was. After finding them, they talk about who they thought it was. "It's that weird boy in the back," Nova says first, taking another look back at the boy. "The one with the glass or Shades?" Yugito asks, looking back as well. "Shades talking to the bug on his finger," Nova said, mimicking him. "No, I think it's the one laying his head down on the table. He's a Nara. They are supposed to be really smart," Yugito says under her breath. "They can also control shadows. But nothing like Otu-san can." "Yay, that's true, Naruto is pretty strong." "Hey, why did you just call him Dad?" Nova asks. "I did not call him that, did I?" Yugito says, blushing. "You did too," Nova says, grinning. "You now I think about it, Naruto and Sarah both were up late last week working on some paperwork. When I talked to them about it was to make them our guardians or something." "So would that make them our new parents?" "I think so. But let's ask first before we start calling them Otu-san and Oka-chan," Yugito says quietly. Both stop talking when another student sits down in the only open seat next to them. Looking at him to see him lean forward to rest his mouth in his enclosed hands and close his eyes. Not a minute later, another student marches up to them and starts to yell. "What do you witches think you are doing sitting next to Sasuke-kun?" the girl yells. The girl has bright pink hair, green eyes, and fair skin. She is wearing a red kipao dress with white circular designs, tight dark green shorts. Both Yugito and Nova clean out their ears from the scream the girl let out at them. Nova speaks first. "We got here first, that boy just got here, so go sit somewhere else. Beside, these were the only 2 chairs by one other when we got here. I sit next to Sasuke-kun, now move it," which the girl says, making a move to grab Yugito. Before she could even get a good grip on Yugito's shirt, she felt something being pressed into the back of her sk. All as well as 2 blades, one to her neck and the other just above her pelvis. Both Yugito and Nova grin, seeing Sarah standing there with her pistol digging into the back of the girl's cranium. "What are you doing to my daughter, you good-for-nothing streetwalker?" Another woman who looks like an older copy of the girl screamed, seeing what was going on. Sarah turns to face the woman keeping her pistol to the girl's head. "Why, I am stopping her from harming a girl under my care. Now, unless you want to join her, shut it and find a seat. I am not in the mood for dealing with anyone right now." Sarah snaps at her, wishing she had her rifle, heck was fully armed and had her armor on. "But no," Naruto said, "do not use it unless on a mission or training." The woman starts to laugh. "You must not know who I am. I am Tsukumo Hanuro and I am a member of this village's council. Unhand my daughter now." Every clan head in the room watch, wondering what Sarah would do. Would she bow to a civilian, or would she grow a pair, as some would say? Too much joy of the civilian, Sarah lowers her gun, with a chuckle. "I am sorry, but these 2 were here first, so your daughter needs to find another seat. Now for your aiming, I think you need to clean out your ears or get rid of those large earrings because they must be making it hard for you to hear. Here, let me help you out." Sarah brings up her gun so fast and fires 2 rounds before anyone knew what was happening. Tsukumo screams loudly as her earrings get shot out of her ears. Grabbing them, she tries to stop the bleeding to feel something press into her forehead. "Now you listen up. I made a promise to those girls to keep them safe. And I plan on keeping it, even if it's from a woman who thinks she is queen of the world because of some title. Well, let me tell you something. I have killed people with way more power than you and have more guards than people in this room. And that's when they go to the bathroom. So you tell me if I should be scared. So shut up. Sit down and stop whining like the wench you are," Sarah says, grabbing the woman by her left ear and pulling her to her feet. "Or I will give you something to whine about." The 2 Anbu in the room stood still, understanding their orders only to intervene if things got out of hand, only if things got out of hand, like Sarah trying to kill the hussy. Both look at one another and shrug. "You will pay for this. The council will see you hanged for hurting one of their members," Tsukumo growls at Sarah. Sarah just grins, making the woman hurry and find a seat. Sarah looks at the two of them grinning. Good reflexes but a little slow still. And Nova, the pelvis is a one-shot, do not always go for it, Sarah tells them before taking her seat again. Jettisoning the old clip, Sarah loads a fresh clip before holstering her weapon. End of flashback. Thanks to them both moving so quickly, they had a fan club following them now. Yugito and Nova both learn quickly how shallow they could be. Now everyone is here, we may begin. We are going to go over what types of missions you will be facing once you become a ninja. Now does any know what the mission ranking system is? Uruka asks the class. Standing next to the chalkboard ready to write down the right answers. Several hands went up at once. Looking around, he points to a civilian family girl in the third row. They go from AE right, the asks only knowing about 6 levels to the mission system. Close Amy, but it's D, being the lowest, to A with S ranks being the highest. Now what type of mission would you most likely be going on if it was C rank? Uruka asks, writing the ranks with space to write under them. Nova hand shoots up into the air knowing the answer, escort mission usually in the country. High C rank missions may take YOU to other countries that are on the border and are friendly terms with the country and village. Very good, Nova. Now what would I most likely face on these missions? Uruka asks. Yugito puts her hand up before answering. Bandits to low-level ninja, mostly genin if you face any at all. Only because you are within your country. Very good, you two. I am surprised you know this only because you two slept through that mission. Uruka shouts at the end, making everyone laugh at the two. Both shrug their shoulders before grinning. Very well, now what is an S-rank mission? Uruka asks, wondering if anyone would know. He barely went over them because they should not know about them. Uruka smiles to himself, seeing 4 hands go up. Shino was the first to raise his hand, followed by Yugito and Nova. Asuke raised his last with the same smirk he always seemed to have on his face. Shino, what is an S-rank mission and why is called S-rank? Uruka inquires as he looks at the boy. Assignation, is all Shino says, making everyone gasp. Uruka nods his head before finishing for him. True, but you are forgetting missing ninja rank. If you rank into an S-rank mission ninja on any mission level, it becomes an S-rank mission. Another thing is all S-rank mission is only known by 3 to 4 people. First being the Hokage, next the ninja that has been given the mission. The client and the target are the last 2 people who know about the mission. Quote. Uruka looks at his class and smiles, seeing them thinking and talking it over between themselves what he just said. A few minutes later, boy in the middle of the class raise his hand. Are we able to talk about them after we do the mission with our family and friends? I just told you who knows about them. All you can say you went on an S-rank mission and that's it, nothing more. People could use those missions against us for their own gain, so we do not talk about them unless the Hokage gives you the okay. Uruka explains a little more, pausing to let it sink in. Both Nova and Yugito look at one another and nod in understanding now why both Sarah and Naruto did not always talk about the missions they went on. Yugito raises her hand and waits for Uruka to nod at her. What if more than one person goes on the mission? Yugito asks, wonder if they both got their own mission. Uruka smiles at her before answering, thank you for asking. I am telling you now, I have never done an S-rank mission. So I would not really know. I have friends who have, and they tell me if more than one goes on it, they do talk a little about it. To be truthful, I do not think they told me everything. They are very tight-lipped about those missions. Yugito bows her head in thanks before lowering her hand. Uruka looks around the class and knows they need a break now. Looking at the clock, seeing they only be in class for about an hour, Uruka started class. I am going to give you 10-minute break to think and talk some more. After the break we will be doing spars. Elsewhere, a small group of Jonin and Anbu stood in the Hokage's office looking through his all-seeing crystal ball of his. They at that moment watching the graduating class. It was at this time the Jonin who would become Jonin instructors for new Genin teams started to pick what Genin they would like on their team. 2 Jonin stood in the crowd to pick a student who would replace a missing member of team that either quit the ninja force or had died on a mission or in the Chunin exams. Another stood there to take a look at who would be joining the force. Standing in the crowd was an Anbu with a cat face mask on watching the class. Yugao was making plans on retiring from the Anbu Corps and taking on a team of her own. She already had her eyes set on her adopted cousins and now just need to pick a third teammate. Her eyes stop on another new student that joined a few months after Yugito and Nova had. She knew at once the boy was toy solder for Danzo and his NA forces. If that was true, he would be a good team member to pick. He had good mid-range attacks and shows signs of knowing how to use a sword. She also figured if she could get Naruto or one of the Templars to enter his mind and show him the truth, they would get a nice little spy. Looking to her left stood two Templars, making everyone in the room a little uneasy. While most of the ninja force had met one or more of them at one point in time, it still did not help with the way look and talk. The only clan that openly greet them and show signs of friendship was the Yamanaka clan. The only other clan that show any sign of friendship was T. Hyuga clan, only because the head of the Hyuga clan was trying to make an alliance with Naruto and the Templars. Yugao shook her head, thinking how the Hyuga elders try and pull a marriage contract and force Naruto and Hinata Hyuga to be married. While the contract was real, Naruto believed it would unwise for him to marry a girl who should have been his age, now close 10 years his junior. But Hiyashi and Naruto had to fight it out in the Chunin exam arena. The elders had also picked two other Hyuga to fight for them. Naruto had Sarah and one of the younger Templars battles the other two. Both end the fights quickly and without a lot of blood lost. It was after that Hiyashi started to come over with both his daughters to talk with Naruto in private, saying his home had one too many eyes watching. From what she could find out was Hiyashi wanted to find a way to make an alliance with Naruto and the Templar. It took them nearly a year before they came to agreement. Even Yugao was not sure what it was. But she did see Hinata Hyuga around the compound a lot more. To her right was her friend and rookie Jonin. She wears makeup consisting of red lipstick and purple eyeshadow. Her regular outfit consists of a red mesh armor blouse with only the right sleeve visible. Over this is very broad material which resembles bandages with a pattern on it similar to those of rose thorns. Her hands and upper thighs are also wrapped in bandages, and she wears the Konoha forehead protector and regular shinobi sandals. Her shoulder-length black hair frames her face, drawing out her red eyes that had two rings. "Kurenai, who do you think will drop out now?" Yugao asks her friend as she watches the students talk about the mission ranks and what could happen. "Most from a civilian family will drop out before the end of the day or fail the last test to have another year to think about it. Anyone from a ninja family will most likely stay," Kurenai says as she looks over at the other Jonin in the room. One of the Templars to Yugao left leans down to talk to her. "Would it not be wise to push everyone through any ways? Give a post that will not place them in danger?" the Templar asks. Even for being on the planet for 2 years, they still found it hard to understand Terran way of thinking. The Protoss would get anyone who wanted to join the military a place that would help. But with the war with the Zerg grew more and more got pushed onto the front lines. Because of the civilian council has got a lot of say in what goes on in the teaching of the students. Also laws have been laid down to keep that from happening. "I agree with you, at times it would help, Ardraxis. But it would hurt the ninja force more than help it. Higher ranked ninja would need to be pulled from other posts to teach them or watch over them. Also, if our force grows too much, the other villages may go to war with us to destroy our village, thinking we have become too powerful," Yugao says to Ardraxis, giving him the short and quick version. Ardraxis nods his head, seeing the logic behind it, making a quick hand sign to his partner before both vanish into the shadows. Yugao blinks her eyes before looking back around the room to see the door open and 5 people walk into the room. The Hokage looks up to see his 2 former teammates, now 2 of the 3 village elders with Danzo. With came in Tsukumo Hanuro no W, head of the civilian council, and Hiyashi Hyuga. Yugao figure Hiyashi came to speak with the Hokage about where his daughter would be placed. "Ah, it seems we made it just in time," Tsukumo says with a smirk before sending a glare at Yugao. Since what happened on the twins' first day at the academy, Tsukumo has done everything in her power to destroy them and Naruto. Yugao had heard a few rumors about Yumo going around on a plan to take control of the Templars and have them kill Naruto. She was not sure how true they were, but she passes them on to Naruto and Sarah when she heard them nevertheless. "What does the village elders and civilian council leader need today?" the Hokage asks, fighting not to sigh seeing them enter. He knew Hiyashi was going to be coming to talk with him. But that was no Till after he was done with this meeting. We have come to see how the team will be built this year and make sure they are built right. The Inoshika Cho trio will remain the same but your son, Asuma. Next we believe it would be best to have Yugito and Nova both slip apart. Tsukumo starts hiding her smirk only for Yugao to cut her off. Will not happen. Naruto-san made sure before leaving. If they both pass they would remain on the same team. Beside they already work well together, it may take a little time for them to get used to a third member even with the drills they do at the academy. Yugao growls at her not liking where it was going. Naruto has no say in this matter. He is not even head of the clan, or ninja council member therefore has no rights to have any say in the team, Tsukumo says with a grin. While I am head of the civilian council. Can you repeat the last two words again? One of the Jonin asks as he pulls out a cigarette and makes to light it only stop from a glare sent at him by Kurenai. Civilian council. Why does that matter? I am the head of it, Tsukumo demands not knowing she just signed her own death warrant. Thank you as you said you are part of the civilian council. You deal with the civilians not the ninja side of life in the village. So team placement would fall outside your say, the Jonin tells her before going on. Beside clan heads have a right to pick one of two things. 1. They may request a Jonin sensei to be in charge of the team their child is on if said Jonin will be taking a team. The other is they may request who is on the team. Now knowing Naruto-san from what I have heard and know about him, would want to place his girls together only because it would mean less of those protoss, you civilians hate so much, running around keeping an eye on them. So why do you not go and deal with something that would be helpful for once? Tsukumo remains quiet for a minute thinking everything over. Growling under her breath she bit. Backs a cursing seeing how she was beaten at her game. She forgot about the Protoss watchdogs as she called them keeping an eye on the twins. Very well they may remain but we pick the sensei and their third teammate. We already pick either Sasuke Uchiha or Sai, both would work great with them. You can't put the Uchiha on their team. Have you forgotten what Naruto-sama did to the Uchiha last time he met him? Kurenai asks everyone in the room. He nearly killed him, you should be grateful that Anko and his mother could calm him down. If they had not your Uchiha would be missing more than an eye. That Naruto-san had no right to harm the great Uchiha-sama, Danzo said with a smirk hoping to gain some control in the room. You forget Danzo that your Uchiha went up to Naruto-sama and demand for him to teach him everything he knew, then told him to sign a marriage contract that made it so both Nova and Yugito were nothing but slaves to him. I believe he even went as far as demand him to have the Protoss train him and give him their weapons and armor, Kurenai says standing up for her friend cousin and landlord. They have no right to hold those weapons and armor just for themselves, one of the elders snaps. But they do, they have no tie to this village other than Naruto-san, the smoking Jonin tells the pain in the rear end. So unless you want to piss them and Naruto-san off I would stop trying to get their gear. The elders both glare at him before backing down. When Yugao speaks up, Lord Hokage I will drop off my list later today. I have promised to meet the twins for lunch. So if nothing else I will take my leave. You may or all dismiss. Kakashi you better give me the list before the tower closes or you will be doing E-rank mission in your free time. Hiyashi you may stay. The Hokage tells everyone as Yugao and Kurenai bow quickly before leaving. Once everyone left Hiyashi sits down in one of the chair with a sigh. Sorry for entering during your meeting. But I felt you may need some support from the ninja side of the council, Hiyashi tells the Hokage who just nods his head. What can I do for you Hiyashi? The aged Hokage asks as the Hyuga clan head pulls out two scrolls. As you know the Hyuga elders have tried to get Naruto to marry my daughter Hinata in a way that would make the Hyuga get the better deal. I am here before you today to have you sign a clan transfer contract. And immunity contract, Hiyashi tells the Hokage before giving him the scrolls to read over. As the third reads over the scrolls he smiles lightly, so this is what you two been working on. I must say I did not think you would go this far to protect them. It is the only way. The elders are planning on marking her with cage bird seal as soon as she becomes a genin. They fear she may join the branch and main houses together again. While I want to see that happen I cannot protect both of my daughters. By doing this I can clear the pathway for my youngest to take the head seat. You have everything here cover. What does Sarah have to say about this? Naruto has explained it to her. She agrees, while Hinata will not be part of their family but place under the branch family with Yugao as her guardian. I am unsure if Naruto has spoken to her about it yet. Keep her close to keep an eye and keep her safe but still make it look like she open. You want the elders to do something. They have been at our heels for the last 2 years. Naruto believes this will be the best way to also draw out any traitors within the village. Kumo has also been making threats about wanting Yugito-san back. The Templars will not attack unless one of the members of their clan is. Naruto is play a very dangerous game here. This could blow up in your faces. But Kumo has been making threats. Only problem is the Templars are becoming more known to the other countries. The only thing keeping them safe is their base is hidden away somewhere. Those cloaks of theirs must be what are keeping them hidden. I think it's something else. I believe they are using Naruto's land as an outpost and a gateway. It has those pylons and cannons covering the wall and gate to enter the compound. Hiyashi says, remembering seeing the drones working around the property. The third nods his head before thinking over a few things. Has Naruto talk about taking a seat on the council, He third ask without warning as he stands up to look out over the village. He knew he need to keep control or he may have a civil war on his hands that would weaken the village to the point of another great war. I have brought it up a few times. Each time Naruto-san has shown little in taking his family seat. In fact, last time I talked to him about he thought of giving it to Yugao. I believe it may to do with his loyalty to the Protoss. This village has not been real welcoming to him and his family. While many of the clans are slowly welcoming the Protoss, many still do not trust them. Yes, I see. And see that mainly from the civilian clans. The day Naruto and his team left to go back to the place he grew up, I had over 1,000 requests to storm his home and take everything to ether given to young Sasuke Uchiha or for the general use in the ninja force. Did they really request for the Uchiha to get all that gear? Not straight out. But I figure it out from who was asking. What I am worried about is someone making a grab for the twins to use them to get Naruto hand over the Protoss weapon and armor. He clear stated that we as a people are not ready for it or will be getting any accesses to it. The only people I know who have so far is ANKO and Tsunade outside his little family. Yugao talk about to seeing if I would talk to him about getting some armor for the Anbu. That would be helpful even if it was just armor. Shield may give us away as for they do give off an energy that you can feel if they get too close. Even their structures have shielding that would help the village greatly in a time of war. But it would also make this village a major target to other villages. If we grow too much, the other great villages will declare war on us to gain or destroy anything that they see as a threat. Iwa already has been poking at our borers, most likely to get at Naruto. Hiyashi sat quietly thinking everything over, just the wall and a few key area and buildings and a few non-key structures. No clan compound or we will have the council claiming they need it for their houses as well. They are already trying to get me to have assign extra Anbu to them. They want 2 full ts to guard each of them and their families. That would pull all of our Anbu from the field. The third says with a sigh today was going to be a long day. With Yugao and Kurenai, both made their way through the village slowly. They took their time to get to the park Yugao told she would meet them at. Who do you think will be placed as the third member of your team? Kurenai asks her friend as she spots a Protoss watching them before vanishing into the shadows. The council will push for the Uchiha because he wants the twins. If I could, I would rather get Root Ninja. That way I can control Wa. Danzo learns about my team or the twins. He has been pushing to get them or the Protoss tech a lot, Yugao says before waving to an Anbu who nods back before moving on with his patrol. Several other Anbu sat on key buildings watching the street below. If the council does get its way, they will have Kakashi as team sensei. While I trust him to fight for the village, I would be weary that the Count C.L. uses his father's death as blackmail to get him to do stuff. He is the only person left in the village that has a Sharingan still anyways, Yugao tells her friend as they come to a cross street. You going to join us or do you have plans? Quote, I need to meet up Sum-san. Kiba is one of the 3 I would like on my team. His bash behavior would help somewhat breaking Hinata out of her shell, Kurenai replies making her friend laugh. I will pass that along to the twins. They've been working on that since she started to come over, Yugao says with a laugh before throwing a wave to Kurenai and head. To the right is her friend head off the clan compound of her hopeful future student. Yugao made her way to the park remembering how her life got flipped upside down by her cousin showing up again. While at first she was upset, she later let it go. He did fight tooth and nail to make sure she kept her Anbu squad, even if she was not longer in charge of all female Anbu. When talking to him, Naruto told her it was play it to hurt him through her and to punish anyone who was friends or family to him. Shaking her head, Yugao tries to not dwell on those thoughts. Her mind did turn to her family and wondering what he was doing with his team. That's it for today, I will stop here. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you please consider subscribe and make sure to hit that like button, share with your friends, and don't forget to check out my Patreon. Details in description.